Apocalypse, I built the infinite train. Hey. Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction, so don't try any techniques you hear here in real life. Your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 76 Unmanned Train. The night was as dark as inky black, and the massive train seemed completely engulfed in darkness, sitting silently on the tracks in the wilderness. The interior lights in the empty carriages were on, but they seemed obscured by some kind of black curtain, casting an eerie, gloomy aura through the narrow corridors. It was as if the entire world had gone dark. Lin Xian stood there, stunned. At that moment, he could only hear the beating of his own heart. Everyone had vanished. A chill ran from his feet to his head. Lin Xian's eyes slowly shifted as he surveyed his surroundings, now completely frozen in place. The three people who had been behind him moments before seemed to have vanished into thin air. He glanced toward the far end of the cockpit. The corridor was pitch black. There had clearly been a light, but its glow seemed to have been mercilessly swallowed by the darkness, leaving only a faint orange glow that could not reach the depths. Lin Xian turned his head again, looking towards carriage number 2. The far end was pitch black. A chill ran down his spine, and he concentrated nervously, shouting, "Teacher Chen?" No one responded. Sasha building, silence reigned. Lin Xian's eyes darted, caught off guard by the suddenness of the situation. He took a deep breath, calmed himself, and suppressed the fear within him, taking 2 steps forward. The sound of a rolling glass ball suddenly came from behind him. He spun around abruptly, and from the darkness of the distant carriage, a delicate glass marble slowly rolled out. "Who?" Lin Xian shouted, his voice echoing through the carriage. No response. He stepped over and took in the glass marble. It was crystal clear, with hints of colorful patterns within, much like the ones children play with. Lights, on. Lin Xian refused to believe it. He was in control of the entire train, and he had clearly turned on the lights. The light overhead seemed to receive a sudden surge of electricity, its brightness increasing slightly, but was quickly overwhelmed by the thick darkness, returning to very low brightness. He walked to car 2. In the distance, Kiki's computer screen was dotted with snow, a faint fluorescent light flickering in the darkness. Lin Xian's heart trembled, and he turned back toward the cockpit, which had large windows offering a clear view outside. Dong dong dong, the distinct sound of footsteps echoed through the car. He walked faster and faster, then suddenly stopped. Suddenly, he caught sight of something out of the corner of his eye. In the corridor ahead, something seemed to be floating in the air. Lin Xian stepped forward, his gaze fixed on it, and saw that there were dozens of strands of hair floating in the air above the corridor, gently swaying. Lin Xian frowned, and immediately reached out to grab them, only for the dozens of hairs to vanish in the wind. Strange things continued to happen. He pulled out his flashlight, and a pale beam of light pierced the darkness, illuminating the various mechanical instruments in the central corridor of the electric locomotive. Lin Xian hurried through, making his way to the front, where the lights shone brightly, but no one was there. He peered out the window with his flashlight. Outside lay a vast expanse of snow, and ahead stretched a long, dark track. Suddenly, the light flickered, and Lin Xian spotted what looked like a red figure standing on the track ahead. He opened his eyes wide. Indeed, a dark, humanoid figure stood motionless in the center of the track in front of the train. Lin Xian frowned, then shone his flashlight. The white light swept across, but nothing was there. The figure vanished again. Lin Xian felt a chill run down his spine. Then, the sound of the marbles echoed again behind him. Da-da-da-da-da, and this time, again, it seemed only a few steps away. A cold breath gently tapped the back of Lin Xian's head, and his face suddenly changed. He slowly turned around. It was pitch black, deserted. But in the shadows of the light in the narrow cockpit corridor, a small, dark figure seemed to have appeared. What the hell? Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. With a sudden, swift movement, a steel knife emerged from his grasp, and a sudden thought struck him. I don't care if you're human or ghost. Dodge. Swish. Lin Xian gritted his teeth, overcome by the surging pressure of the scene. Without a word, he slashed straight at the shadowy hole. Swoosh! The shadow passed by, and the sound of flesh being chopped off echoed. Lin Xian's pupils shrank, realizing he had struck something, and he turned back. But then, the small figure slowly emerged from the shadows into the light. A little girl anxiously clutched her neck, blood spurting from it, her face gazing at Lin Xian in terror. Lu Shasha. Lin Xian's face paled as he took one look. In a flash, Shasha collapsed to the ground, her face shrouded in terror, blood gushing forth in large streams. Shasha, he began to speak, his heart trembling. Suddenly realizing something, he spun around. Behind him, a female ghost in red appeared. Beneath her black hair, a grotesque, decayed face glared at him with a strange grin, seemingly only half an inch away. Hiss! Lin Xian gasped, his reflexes flailing. He lifted his left index finger, ready to unleash a powerful wind gun attack. Bang! But the next moment, his left index finger suddenly exploded at the nail, the bone flipping upward and breaking, the flesh ripping apart, leaving only a sliver of skin still attached to his hand. Ugh! Lin Xian grunted in horror, staring at his finger. Looking up again, the red-clad female ghost had vanished from sight. In the distance, in carriage number 2, a crimson figure stood eerily. Bang! 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 His heart pounded, and he felt his adrenaline surge through him, a wave of intense pain and fear washing over him. The horrific scene before him repeatedly assaulted his inner defenses. Hiss! Lin Xian stared at his shattered finger in horror, then glanced back at the small hand lying in the shadows, the bloody mess on the ground, his heart filled with utter horror. He killed Lu Shasha. Shasha! Lin Xian covered his fingers and called out tentatively, but there was no response. Unable to believe the scene before him, he took a step forward, but from the shadows behind the thin, bleeding body, a pale ghostly hand suddenly stretched out. It grabbed Shasha's foot and yanked hard. Wow! It dragged Shasha's body into the darkness, leaving behind a trail of bright red blood. Lin Xian's scalp tingled, and he kept reminding himself to calm down. The intense fear was rapidly devouring his sanity. Armor, ice-breaking shield, they had been busy for so long, but it seemed nothing could stop them. In that moment, endless despair grew wildly from the depths of his heart. The intense pain in his fingers made him sweat profusely, attacking the last shred of his sanity. Something's wrong, something's wrong. Radio 1542, Mysterious Disappearances, Supernatural Phenomena, a female ghost in red. Jiang Yun's words came back to his ears, but be careful, this thing can do more than just pick up noises from people. What's wrong, huh? A cold wind blew in the carriage, and the lights around became dimmer. Lin Xian turned around and looked at the ghost in carriage number 2. As the brightness of the light dimmed, the ghost seemed to be getting closer and closer. Newcomer, please follow me and vote for me. There will be a burst of updates after it goes on sale on December 1st. Don't keep reading. Just turn to the last chapter when a new chapter is released. Chapter 77 Silver Antenna. In the gloomy carriage, the lights gradually dimmed. The light seemed unable to penetrate the darkness, and as Lin Xian's inner fear deepened, even the light was devoured. Cold sweat covered Lin Xian's forehead. Amidst endless terror, he desperately tried to maintain his last shred of sanity. No, no, no. Something must be wrong. What's wrong? What's wrong? What did I notice? Snap, snap. Footsteps echoed in the deep darkness. Who's there? Lin Xian gripped the forged steel knife tightly, sweat pouring down his face. The passage grew darker, and Lin Xian could no longer discern what was emerging ahead. No one responded. But Lin Xian had the feeling that someone was standing in the darkness before him. A cold presence approached him. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lin Xian's heart raced, knowing danger was approaching. He rubbed his eyes, straining to see clearly ahead. But he could see nothing. I can't see. Why can't I see? Suddenly, a pale hand appeared in the darkness. Lin Xian's expression changed drastically, and he tightened his grip on the steel knife and raised his hand. But just as he was about to strike, he suddenly stopped. He noticed frostbite on the back of his hand. Can ghosts get frostbite? Lin Xian admired himself. Just as his mind was about to collapse, he suddenly asked himself such a strange question. But this question pulled his mind back from the brink and quickly cooled it. He knew something was wrong. Lin Xian's expression froze, and he suddenly reached out to grab the severed finger stuck to his hand, gritting his teeth and pulling it apart. Hiss! The intense tearing pain almost made him lose his breath. His chest gasped, and he raised his left hand again, but this time, ignoring the ghost in the darkness before him, he pointed the bloody hole of his severed finger at the radio on the sofa. Air gun. Bang! A burst of air rang out, and the black radio placed on the sofa was suddenly blown away. Crack! 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 Strangely, Lin Xian's powerful blowgun didn't shatter the radio. Instead, it emitted a strange, amplified sound, its frequency band flickering. Then, with a crisp click, a bright silver object flew out. The train's lights suddenly erupted with a powerful radiance, illuminating every aisle and corridor. At this moment, the shadow before Lin Xian was illuminated. The shadow's true form was revealed. It was none other than himself. The figure before him wore a strange smile, his eyes fixed on him. A chill ran down his spine. The bright light appeared, and Lin Xian suddenly retreated rapidly into the darkness, vanishing in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, Lin Xian took a few steps back, sighing inwardly. Sure enough, he gasped for breath. He raised his left hand, finding his fingers intact. Turning back, there was no sign of the girl or blood. Lin Xian's heart raced, wondering, if I had attacked just now, would I have killed myself? He was surprised by more than one thing. The glass marbles in the darkness, the red-clad female ghost in the carriage, the broken finger, these were things Lin Xian had feared since childhood, but they had only inflicted immense fear, not actual fatal harm. It was when he accidentally slit Shasha's throat that his mind truly spiraled out of control. Just as he was on the verge of collapse, a ghostly figure appeared before him. If he had lost all reason and only the instinct to survive remained, he would have immediately fought back. And he might have killed himself. Lin Xian also noticed two other details. Besides the frostbite on the figure's hand, which mirrored his own, there was also the radio on the sofa. The entire train was controlled by Lin Xian's mechanical mind. Perhaps fear blocked his senses, but it couldn't block his mechanical mind. The radio was clearly off, but the frequency indicator light was on. If it wasn't his own mechanical heart controlling the situation, then it must be something else. And in the series space, something was unleashing his fear. Ding, ding, ding. The silver object fell to the ground with a metallic sound. Lin Xian's gaze focused, realizing it was a silver antenna. Strangely, the antenna seemed to possess some kind of autonomous consciousness, rapidly rolling forward on the ground, heading towards carriage 3. Dilly, ding, ding. There's something fishy about this thing. Lin Xian frowned and ran after it. Lin Xian's deepest fears materialized in that moment, and as soon as he realized it, he understood. The strange marbles, the red-clad ghost woman, the exploding fingers, all were fake. That strange radio station truly possessed some supernatural power. It seemed to be broadcasting fear, releasing it, and it wanted Lin Xian to kill himself. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. The silver antenna tumbled rapidly into the darkness, then with a clang, it bumped into a toolbox and came to a stop. Lin Xian's face was slightly stern, and he quickly walked over. He took a step forward, and the hideous red-clad female ghost suddenly appeared out of nowhere, charging towards him. Lin Xian's heart trembled, his face darkening as he stepped back in fear. But at this moment, he forced his composure to stand firm and bravely faced forward. Nice figure, Lin Xian gritted his teeth and reached out to touch the ghost's breasts. The red-clad ghost gave him a horrified look before vanishing in a panic. The same trick again. Confirming his suspicions, Lin Xian felt a sense of peace. Supernatural powers? Everything is false, nothing but a terrifying mental illusion. Lin Xian took another step forward, and a cutting machine flew past, severing his neck. His vision spun as his head plummeted to the ground. He walked over, picked up his head, and held it behind him to examine it. I didn't know my back was so straight. Then, he replaced the head and walked forward again. Suddenly, a red light flashed in the carriage ahead, and a huge wave of blood and countless skulls tumbled down. Lin Xian waved his hand, and an ice shield appeared. He pushed it forward through the sea of blood and skulls, grabbing a skull and weighing it. Not bad, this melon is ripe. The silver antenna continued to release fear from Lin Xian's heart, but since he had already seen through the trick, why would he still be afraid? At this moment, the lights inside the car began to flicker eerily, and the connection between the cars emitted a steel whimpering sound, and the car doors moved automatically. What's making so much noise? Lin Xian walked over to the toolbox and looked at the silver antenna on the ground with a cold gaze. What the hell? I'm the master of this car. With that, Lin Xian raised his right hand and snapped his fingers. Wow! The mechanical heart vibrated, all the sun visors closed, the gate stopped, the lights stopped flashing, and the electric locomotive engine started to run, keeping the entire car's circuits open. If he didn't possess the mechanical heart, he would really be consumed by this tidal wave of fear, unable to distinguish between illusion and reality. I want to see what kind of monster it is. Lin Xian stared at the antenna and slowly crouched down. In that instant, countless ghostly figures, ghostly claws, corpses, and a bloody scene swarmed before his eyes. Its growing frenzy made Lin Xian feel that it was trying to stop him, so he ignored the images and reached out to pick it up. Swish! As his fingertips touched the silver antenna, the terrifying images instantly vanished. Sure enough, it's this thing causing trouble. Lin Xian picked up the antenna and found it was the same one that had been attached to his radio. It felt cold and retractable, but strangely, as he grasped it, the images before him flickered eerily, and all the lights went out. The entire car was swallowed by darkness. Even more frightening was the feeling that his mind was rapidly being drawn away from his surroundings. What was going on? Lin Xian stood up and suddenly heard a noise behind him. He turned and shone his flashlight in the direction, and his expression changed drastically. Not far behind him, in the corridor, stood a white, two-eared monster, blood oozing from its mouth. In its arms, it held a girl, seemingly devouring something. And the girl in the monster's arms looked incredibly familiar to him. Kiki. Newcomer, please read along and vote for me. Updates will be coming soon after the book launches on December 1st, so don't wait for the book, just turn to the last chapter when a new one is released. Chapter 78 The Invisible Weirdness. Kiki here? Lin Xian's expression trembled. As he shone his flashlight over, the white monster slowly raised its head and gazed at him with a strange look. There was a mixture of surprise and confusion in that look, as if it was surprised that Lin Xian could see it. Lin Xian saw a few strands of Kiki's hair fluttering, and immediately remembered the hair he had just seen. These hairs? Kiki's? Could this monster have been standing here from the beginning? But why hadn't he seen it? A strange thought flashed through Lin Xian's mind. He glanced at the silver antenna in his hand and felt his energy draining away. What the hell? Sensing something was amiss, Lin Xian raised his hand and launched a blast of wind at the monster. Bang! The monster's head was instantly pierced, sending a burst of black air billowing out. It screamed in terror, spreading its wings as if trying to catch the escaping black energy. At this moment, the girl in his arms fell to the ground. Hit! Lin Xian was surprised, but there was no time to dwell. He immediately rushed over to rescue Kiki. The monster's black energy grew stronger, as if it were leaking air, gradually forming a vast cloud of smoke that enveloped Carriage 1. Lin Xian covered his mouth and nose and rushed in. The moment he came into contact with a black mist, the world spun around him. Whoosh! Whoosh! It was like falling into an abyss. A strong sense of weightlessness washed over him. Breaking through the black mist, Lin Xian awoke with a start, only to find the scene before him completely altered. Beneath the dark clouds, the deserted city looked both familiar and strange. On the distant intercity line, a neat line of traffic lights flickered like breathing, framing the towering steel defenses that encircled the city. The faint glow seemed like a human fire, a solemn and oppressive presence. Atop a high-rise building in the city center, Lin Xian opened his eyes and took in the strange, almost bizarre existence. Above the sky, a massive, humanoid corpse floated in mid-air at a downward angle, obscuring the sky and the sun. Only the bulk of its torso, visible through the clouds, measured at least 10 kilometers in length. The floating corpse remained motionless, like a floating continent. Its body was a grayish-black hue, and one could clearly see the dry wrinkles of its skin, like deep valleys. Its dark, hollow eyes were devoid of any life. With an eerie, oppressive aura, it drifted high above the city. A strange whisper echoed in his ears, and Lin Xian slowly raised his head to gaze into the abyssal eyes of the corpse. Inside the Infinity Train, parked in the snowy plains, the atmosphere was extremely solemn. Chen Sixuan, Shasha, and Lauda all looked on, their faces drastically changed as they watched Lin Xian mysteriously vanish from the scene before them. Brother Lin is gone, Shasha screamed. Lauda was also stunned, completely unaware of what had happened. Ah, Lin Xian! Lin Xian! Chen Sixuan cried in panic. There was no response. Lin Xian, a living person, had vanished right before their eyes. What's going on? Radio 1542, yes, that's it. Sister Kiki told me about it when she came back that day, Sasha said in a panic. Oh my god, Brother Lin is missing too. Chen Sixuan's face paled. Boom. Boom. Sister Chen, listen. Sasha frantically looked towards the floor of the carriage. Someone's moving. Boom, boom, boom. The three of them stepped back. The footsteps grew faster and faster. Moving from carriage 2 towards the cockpit, but pausing briefly by the bed where Kiki was, before continuing forward. Boom, boom, boom. The sound paused in the distant cockpit before returning. What the hell? Chen Sixuan frowned, her face filled with panic. Could that voice be Brother Lin? Lushasha tried waving her hands in the air, but found nothing to touch. Is Brother Lin invisible? Why do I feel like he's still on the train? Could it really be this radio station? Zzz. The radio still displayed the frequency number 1542, while a faint electrical current hummed continuously from the speaker. Everyone fell silent, and they could almost hear the faint sound of wind. Sister Chen, this thing, should we turn it off? Shasha asked fearfully. Chen Sixuan also felt a chill run down her spine. She looked at the radio on the sofa, then decisively walked over and turned it off. But strangely, even after she turned it off, the frequency number on the radio remained lit. Oh my god, it's still on, Shasha exclaimed. What's going on? The three of them stepped back, their faces wary of the radio. Woo! At that moment, the lights in the carriage suddenly brightened, and the engine of the Huangsing 7F electric locomotive roared to life. Ta-da-da! All the sunshades dropped, and the gates opened. Bright light streamed into the carriage, banishing the darkness. Beep, beep, beep 4:05 p.m. Daybreak. Chen Sixuan's face darkened upon seeing this. It's Lin Xian. He's operating the train, he's on this car. The sky was bright, but a chill ran down their spines. Yes, that must be what Brother Lin is doing, but why can't we see him? Sasha clawed at the air, but there was nothing. Sasha turned around, her face suddenly pale. Look, Sister Kiki is bleeding again. Chen Sixuan turned around and saw, sure enough, bright red blood oozing from Kiki's nostrils. She immediately ran over. Sasha, get some water. The three were bewildered by the strange situation. Lin Xian had vanished, and Kiki's condition was once again critical. Everyone's heart was in their throat. Sasha lifted Kiki's eyelids and discovered that her pupils were now almost completely covered in black ink, and her breathing had become even weaker. What should we do? Sister Kiki seems to be getting worse. Chen Sixuan, watching this scene, also frowned, and hurriedly asked. Quick, where's the red bead? The building behind Sasha looked back and whispered, it's gone. I just took it off. Oh no. That strange blood essence is really gone. Sasha hurried to the sofa and looked around, but as expected, she couldn't find the red bead. Bang! At that moment, the radio suddenly clicked, and the frequency band numbers on it flashed wildly, then slowly went out. The sudden movement startled the two women, and the building took 2 steps back, his face full of alarm. It's turned off. What happened? Chen Sixuan was genuinely startled by the scene. She quickly said, it must be Lin Xian doing something. I have a feeling he's on this train. Maybe he's in trouble. Shasha, come on, let's split up. Maybe Lin Xian is making these noises to attract our attention. Maybe he needs our help. Shasha nodded repeatedly, her face filled with anxiety. Yes, that makes sense. I'll go to the other carriage and watch. Okay, I'll watch Kiki. You guys guard that side. The three of them immediately split up. In carriage number 1. Chen Sixuan frowned as she watched Kiki's condition deteriorate on the bed. She then looked out at the clear sky and snowy plains, her face filled with anxiety. If Lin Xian is truly missing, then their escape would be over. It seemed all they could do now was wait. Newbie, please keep reading and vote. Updates will be coming soon after the book launches on December 1st. Don't wait for the new chapters, just turn to the last one when they're released. Chapter 79 Prison. Lin Xian felt the world go hazy. His head was filled with a ringing sound, and a damp, rancid stench filled the air, making him frown. He wondered if he was still on the train, because even the restroom in the train compartment didn't smell so bad. He woke up, his vision hazy and pitch black. He felt as if he were deep in some dark prison. A thin, dark figure sat in a corner not far from him. Lin Xian looked closely and saw a little girl, about 13 or 14, sitting there with her legs crossed. Her thin figure showed the signs of malnutrition, but it couldn't hide the sparkle in her bright eyes. She seemed to be expecting something. Kiki. Lin Xian was startled by the look on her face, his mind a blur. How did Kiki become a little girl? Well, although she was a little girl, Lin Xian didn't remember her being this small. Hey, little girl, he called out, but the girl didn't answer. Lin Xian suppressed his doubts and stood up to survey his surroundings. He reached the iron gate and discovered a mechanical lock controlled by some circuit. He placed his hand on it, his mechanical heart activated, instantly finding a way through. But this time, he couldn't open the gate. What's going on? Lin Xian looked at his hand. Could it be that his supernatural power had malfunctioned? Besides, he was on the train, so how could he suddenly be in such a haunted place? What was that terrifying giant corpse he had just seen in the sky? And who is this person who looked so much like Kiki? Everything was making Lin Xian feel a bit confused. Bang! At that moment, the sound of an iron gate opening could be heard from a distance. Someone was coming. Kiki, hiding in the shadows, seemed to tremble at the sound. Lin Xian looked back and saw a look of fear and anxiety in her eyes. With the sound of approaching leather shoes, several uniformed men in large hats approached. Lin Xian's expression was slightly stern, and he secretly prepared his wind cannon. The middle-aged man in the lead glanced around, seemingly unaware of Lin Xian, before landing on Kiki. Is that her? That's her, take her away. 305, open the door, a beep. The switch chimed, and the iron gate slowly swung open. Two men in heavy hats entered, one on each side, picking up Kiki. Lin Xian rose to attack, but his fists faltered in midair. He realized no one could see him. What's going on? Still terrified, Lin Xian's expression was filled with confusion. He suppressed his impulses, pondering carefully, realizing he must be in some spiritual realm. As if by some mysterious force, as Kiki was led away, Lin Xian saw the scene outside the iron fence suddenly shift. It was like entering a dark movie theater. He saw Kiki being led into a strange room, sitting on a stool. A woman stood before her, holding documents, seemingly engaged in conversation. Are you Zhao Enki? Yes, Kiki said in a low voice. What's your relationship with Zhaolu? No relationship, but the records show that she's your biological mother. She disappeared 8 years ago after sending you to the Magnolia orphanage. What exactly do you want to ask? The woman continued. How much do you know about her? Kiki still didn't speak. The woman was silent for a moment, then said, From Zhaolu's records, we found someone who might be your father. Do you want to meet him? Kiki's eyes were blank, and she didn't even look up. Oh, the woman was stunned for a moment, then continued. Your father's surname is Wen. He's the boss of Linglong Group and the richest man in the city. Then I'm rich, right? Kiki lowered her head and said this, but there was no joy in her voice. I've looked at your profile. You escaped from the orphanage at the age of 8, living as a scammer in the old city. You taught yourself programming just to steal money from ATMs, and you've been jailed 19 times in 6 years. You've got quite a bad record, the woman said with disdain. I can't believe someone like you could have such good luck. You must be so proud of having a father like this. Kiki's eyes were defiant, and she remained silent. Also, a week ago, we found your mother, Zhaolu's, body near the Luchen sewage treatment plant. Judging by the decomposition, she'd been dead for at least 20 days. Kiki's fingers trembled ever so slightly at this, but she remained silent, her eyes hollow, her expression neither happy nor sad. The scene shifted to a woman on the shore of a sewage treatment plant. They were beating and kicking her, leaving her face bruised and swollen, foaming at the mouth, and her screams heartbreaking. You bitch, tell me. Where's your daughter? A young man in a black suit kicked the woman hard in the stomach. You think we can't find her if you don't tell us? I don't know, I really don't know, the woman pleaded miserably. However, the beating intensified. Before long, the woman's resistance faded, blood covering her face. Can you help me? A light, hollow voice echoed behind him. Lin Xian spun around and saw the frail figure reappear in the corner not far behind him. Her pretty, lively face, shrouded in shadow, seemed to be pleading for help. Lin Xian's face settled, as if understanding had dawned on him. Do you know who I am? You're here to help me, Kiki replied. What for? Lin Xian asked, frowning. Kiki pointed a finger at the thugs on the shore. Help me kill them, Lin Xian frowned. Who are you? I'm Kiki. The girl raised her head, her gaze fixed on him through the shadows. Lin Xian's face darkened. With a flick of his hand, His mechanical heart activated. Soon, he had crafted a fully loaded Glock 23. After disassembling a lot of materials and broken down firearms, he was now capable of crafting even this basic pistol. The only problem was a shortage of ammunition. The frail girl gazed at the gun in Lin Xian's hand, a look of surprise on her face. She looked at him and slowly said, "Thank you." At that moment, Kiki suddenly appeared on the shore. "Hey, why is there a girl over there?" A fierce-looking man glanced over, catching sight of Kiki standing alone in the distance. Everyone stopped beating him and glanced over. Kiki then raised her right hand, forming a pistol shape with her index finger and thumb. "What does this girl mean? Are you stupid?" The girl's eyes were deep, her face as dark as water, her expression neither sad nor happy. She said lightly, "Bang!" In an instant, smoke erupted, and a stream of blood spurted from the back of the man's head as he collapsed to the ground, dead. "Fuck, she's got a gun, hit her." The girl's face was expressionless, her eyes filled with hatred as she murmured, "Bang, bang, kill them all." A strange whisper echoed in the girl's ears. Bullets pierced through the bodies of several people, causing them to scream in agony. In an instant, their faces were riddled with bloody holes, and pieces of flesh flew everywhere. Newbie. Please follow along and vote. It will be updated after it's released on December 1st, so don't wait for the new chapter to be released. Just turn to the last chapter. Chapter 80 Degeneration. Just as he lost consciousness, the scene outside the cell changed again. This time, it was a dark corridor. A little girl, seemingly only 3 or 4 years old, sat on a bench, clutching a faded teddy bear. The doll seemed old, but clean perfectly. The little girl sat obediently, her head lowered, her face filled with confusion and fear. A room not far from her, the door ajar, revealed an office. According to regulations, only parents with proof of exceptional hardship or health conditions can place a child in our orphanage. And both parents must adopt together. "Ms. Zhao, your situation clearly doesn't qualify." Director, listen to me." The woman seemed agitated and uneasy. "She can't come with me. She'll die. She'll definitely die. Please, she's very obedient and won't cause you any trouble." The director, noticing the woman's panic, frowned. "Ms. Zhao, I'm so sorry." The woman's calm face began to tremble. She suddenly screamed hysterically, ruffling her hair, ripping open her collar, and like a madman, she picked up a vase from the table and smashed it on her head. Bang! Crash! The scene suddenly abruptly shifted. Soon, security guards and teachers rushed into the office, trying to stop the frantic woman. The little girl sat quietly in the hallway, her head bowed, as if she were blocking out the clamor and screams of the people coming and going. After an unknown amount of time, the room gradually quieted down. Creak, the door opened, and a woman with messy hair walked out. She stood at the door and seemed to glance at the little girl, or maybe she didn't. She stood there for a while. Then, she turned and walked towards the light in the distance. The sunlight stretched the woman's shadow longer and longer, but the woman's figure just happened to block the sunlight in the distance, making the corridor darker and darker. "Zhao Enki, your mother is crazy. We are different from you. You were abandoned by your mother injured the principal and will definitely be shot." At some point, several children of the same age appeared beside the girl. They pointed at the girl and laughed at her, one after another. "Zhao Enki, why are you so naughty?" The teachers of the orphanage also appeared beside her with fierce eyes. "Who taught you to lie? You've been a liar since you were little. What will you be like when you grow up, Zhao Enki? Why did you sneak out again, Zhao Enki? How come you're just like your mother? Are you also a lunatic? Can you help me?" Lin Xian blinked, and the children and teachers in the corridor vanished. He returned to the black cell and a little girl sitting on the bench across from him. 3 girls now appeared in the cell. Lin Xian knew they were Kiki from different eras. The little girl lowered her head, her hands nervously fiddling with her teddy bear. But she didn't cry, simply fiddling with it silently. It was as if she was just sitting there for a while, and someone would come to take her away. "What can I help you with?" Lin Xian suddenly changed the question, no longer asking if the girl knew him. The little girl raised her hand, waiting for Lin Xian to give her something, just like before. Lin Xian frowned, finally realizing something was wrong. His expression shifted from calm to solemn, and he suddenly shouted, "Are you going to kill the principal, or those classmates, or are you going to kill your mother?" The little girl didn't say anything. "No. Kiki." Lin Xian's expression was serious, now agitated. "Listen to me, Those people up there deserve to die, more than enough to deserve it, but the classmates and teachers at the orphanage, they're just... Lin Xian's voice paused. His lips were dry, and he felt like he was stuck in some logical dilemma. After a long thought, he said, they're just annoying people, but there's no need to kill them. All of this seemed like just fragments of Kiki's memory, but at this moment, Lin Xian didn't know why, but he felt a strong feeling. If he killed all these children, teachers, and mother, there would be no Kiki anymore. And the word that came to mind was hatred. Why was he seeing these images? Was something happening to Kiki? Whether it's announced by the Order of the Phoenix or spread among the Wanderer community, almost all superpowers are dependent on three things: an object, a change in the body and mind, and finally, specific conditions. Thinking of this, Lin Xian suddenly felt a chill run down his spine, a chill that instantly ran down his spine. He remembered a term from the Angel Project that Kiki had mentioned earlier. Degeneration. Based on the collected case studies, evolution isn't inevitable or has a specific outcome. It can also evolve incorrectly. Kiki is near death. Could her superpowers be undergoing some kind of transformation, emotional and mental, evolutionary error? Something is degenerating her. Lin Xian frowned and took a few steps back. He remembered the white monster he had just seen, and the dark ink in Kiki's eyes, and a chill ran down his spine. But why did Lin Xian suddenly see that white monster? Is it because of that strange antenna? Of course, if that's the case, then that thing has always been right beside Kiki, just out of sight. Lin Xian stood alone in the black prison, gasping for air. His eyes trembled, as if he had glimpsed a glimpse of something forbidden in the darkness. Perhaps, there was a possibility, those strange things had always been around them. Not long ago, Lin Xian had been discussing with Dalu in the car, his feeling that those monsters in the night weren't attracted to sounds, but to living people. Whether it was the giant white monster or the three-faced spider, they always strangely appeared near Lin Xian, as if the strangeness had always been there. As soon as this thought occurred to him, his hair stood on end, and he immediately stood up and took a few steps back. Then, he noticed a huge dark figure standing in the shadows behind the three girls. There was someone else in this black prison besides him and the three girls. His eyes trembled as he stared at the shadow. The shadowy figure seemed to be gazing at Lin Xian as well. Standing in the shadows of the corner, it slowly advanced, a terrifying, pale face coming into view. Its bloody maw gaped, as if devouring something. Meanwhile, the three different stages of Kiki, from older to younger, began to shrivel and their faces became horrific, as if their vitality had been drained away. As expected, Kiki, now suffering a mental breakdown, was on the verge of degeneration. Newbie, please follow along and vote for me. Updates will be coming soon after the book launches on December 1st, so don't wait for the new chapters to be released, just turn to the last one. Chapter 81 Duel. In the dark prison cell. They're just annoying people, 4-year-old Kiki muttered softly, rubbing her chest. But Enki hurts here. Lin Xian was about to say something when the little girl turned away. Then, before his astonished gaze, she walked up to 8-year-old Kiki and took the pistol from her hand. Lin Xian was immediately horrified. Oops, he was about to intervene. But in an instant, Kiki, in the corridor outside the iron bars, stood up, formed a gun shape with her small hand, and slowly walked to the end of the corridor. There, the woman's retreating figure hadn't yet left the open space. The cheerful laughter of children emanated from the open space outside. Wait, Lin Xian shouted, gripping the iron bars with both hands. His mechanical heart worked frantically, but he couldn't open it. He immediately began to construct, thinking of building a machine to saw through the iron bars. But building a cutting machine was time-consuming and labor-intensive, and even if he tried his best, he couldn't catch up. Fuck you, Lin Xian roared, turning around and unleashing his wind lances at the shadowy monster. Crackling, crackling. The wind lances seemed to strike an invisible wall, causing no damage to the terrifying, eerie being. Lin Xian was horrified. This couldn't be right. If the white monster he had just seen was the culprit behind Kiki's gradual degeneration, he had clearly killed it. Where had this thing appeared from? Kiki, from 3 different eras, screamed in fear. Fear? No, that wasn't fear just now. Fear is. Lin Xian's expression froze. Suddenly realizing that the monster before him was completely different from the white, fallen demon on the train. Fear, damn. That silver antenna. Where is it? Lin Xian looked at his hand. Didn't he remember holding it? But why was it empty now? Huh? Lin Xian suddenly looked up and saw the terrifying monster in the corner. He suddenly stepped forward and grabbed directly into the eerie bloody mouth. Still scaring me, he was now certain that the monster that had grabbed and devoured Kiki in the carriage was the true degenerate. He himself, now in Kiki's degenerate world, must have fainted on the ground. And the other terrifying monster before him was the work of the silver antenna. Sure enough. He reached into the bloody mouth and immediately felt a cold object. In an instant, the ghostly figure disappeared. At this moment, a beep sounded, and the iron gate suddenly opened. Lin Xian was stunned for a moment, knowing that his guess was right, and immediately turned and rushed out. Click, click. Lin Xian rushed along the long, dark corridor. In the distance, a light flashed. As he ran closer and closer, his vision became increasingly dazzling, and he had to shield his eyes with his hands. Finally, he ran out. In the dazzling sunlight, Lin Xian felt a stinging pain in his eyes and slowly opened them. Outside lay the orphanage's lush green garden. The surrounding fences and green belts had long since been demolished. The isolated orphanage stood in the wilderness, looking somewhat out of place against the nearby skyscrapers. There was no bloodshed, no corpses strewn across the grounds. A dozen children were playing and laughing freely. In the courtyard between the buildings grew an ancient banyan tree, blotting out the sun. Beneath the tree, Lin Xian spotted a small figure. She sat quietly on the grass, clutching a teddy bear, her gaze gazing towards a distant path. Amidst the laughter, she seemed a little lonely and forlorn. On that path, a woman with disheveled hair gradually walked away. It was her mother's departing figure. "Hello," a familiar voice called from behind him. Lin Xian turned and saw the Kiki he knew standing not far away, her face light and her smile as beautiful as a flower. "Thank you, Lin Xian." 1645. The snowstorm intensified. In carriage 1, Chen Sixuan and Sasha anxiously watched Kiki's condition. For some reason, after the bleeding just now, Kiki's expression suddenly recovered a lot. Her breathing began to become steady, and the skin on her face gradually regained some color. "She doesn't look so serious anymore," Chen Sixuan frowned. She really couldn't understand. Kiki's condition was sometimes good, sometimes bad, and it was hard to figure out. From last night until now, what happened on the Infinity was really strange and bizarre. She was still scared. However, there was a clear improvement at this time, which made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. "But since a while ago, I haven't heard those footsteps anymore." Sasha looked around the corridor of the carriage, her face solemn. Dong dong dong. At this time, a series of heavy footsteps were heard. The two women glanced over and saw someone approaching with a swift, decisive move, their faces heavy. "Over there, there's a train." Chen Sixuan and Sasha were startled, and the three of them quickly ran into the cockpit. Sure enough, they saw a black train approaching on the northwest section of the railway that merges into the Jianggai JY 3365. However, the train wasn't on the same track as the Infinity, having merged far ahead, clearly heading towards Dalo Mountain. Clang, clang. As the train approached, the three could see clearly that it was an Interstellar Army intercontinental train. At that moment, a dull rumble echoed from the distant tracks as the Interstellar Army intercontinental train sped past. "Military? It's the Iron Guard," Sasha exclaimed, seeming to recognize the logo on the black train. The train was carrying a large number of heavy tracked armor tanks, the same Iron Guard II assault armor that Sasha and her companions had seen at Outpost T-34, and even 3 destroyer heavy assault vehicles. At the rear of the train was towing a massive, mobile railgun, a truly spectacular sight. Rumble, rumble. Meanwhile, in the sky ahead of the train, countless gunships and aircraft streaked across the sky, their roaring engines and sonic booms rattling the windows. Are all these heavy vehicles heading towards Dalo Mountain and Yubai City? Chen Sixuan looked uneasy. Perhaps it's the extremely dangerous, strange area and large, strange entity we heard about on the radio earlier. It looks very dangerous. We have to take the southern route, Brother Lin. I don't know what the situation is. The radio isn't working right now. Sasha watched the heavy armored troops passing by like a dark cloud in the distance, her face filled with amazement. This was the first time she had witnessed such a large-scale federal troop movement. "It's okay, we'll wait." Chen Sixuan took a deep breath and looked at the two of them. "Look, building, while it's still daylight, you go down and check the train. Sasha, You ride your bike along the southern line first to explore the route. I have a feeling that whether we take the southern or northern route, it won't be easy for us to enter Yubai City. I'll stay here to watch over Kiki and keep an eye on Lin Xian. It's getting dark soon, so we'll keep the train parked and on guard tonight. Shasha nodded. Okay, then we'll hurry. Lin Xian opened his eyes and found himself lying in the corridor of carriage 1, surrounded by pitch darkness. The white fallen demon had disappeared, as had Kiki. The entire car remained empty. Damn it, why are you still here? The darkness continued to consume his mind. He turned his head to look at the cold object in his hand, the silver antenna. Lin Xian frowned, knowing there was something strange about it. But he didn't dare let go. If he did, endless fear would overwhelm him. But if he didn't let go, his mental strength and willpower would rapidly drain. His head was spinning, and his vision was starting to go dark. What the hell? Lin Xian got up from the ground and sat on the sofa. He picked up the radio and looked at it. It was already turned off. Click, he turned it on, and it was still on frequency 1542. Lin Xian tried to adjust the frequency, but found that no matter how he turned it, the orange number on it didn't change at all. It always remained at 1542. Lin Xian frowned. He had just checked that the radio was not damaged. Why were all the frequencies on it always on 1542? Holy shit, his pupils suddenly trembled. Am I trapped in a frequency band? Newcomer, please read on and vote for me. There will be a burst of updates after the book is released on December 1st. Everyone, please don't wait for the book to be released. Just turn to the last chapter when the new chapter is released. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82 Investigation. A heavy train sat quietly parked in a field, heading out of Daluo Mountain in Yuchi. The night was as dark as ink, and snow was falling. Without Lin Xian, the infinity train halted its advance. The 2 hours of daylight passed quickly, and with nightfall, the three of them had no choice but to return to the train compartment to discuss and continue waiting. Chen Sixuan brought in a few quilts, covering the comatose Kiki, and took another for Dalu. Carriage 5 had been converted into a simple sleeping cabin, where Dalu lived. 2 racks had been welded throughout the rest of the train, storing steel and equipment. How is it going? Chen Sixuan asked. Sasha sat on the sofa, watching the radio from a distance. A look of fear crossed her face. I don't know why, but I keep feeling like it's still ringing. A silence fell. Chen Sixuan stood there, her chest heaving. She stared at the radio, trying to control her emotions. Reason told her not to let her thoughts wander. If someone could control the train, she knew it was Lin Xian. I haven't heard any noise for hours. Maybe Lin Xian encountered something. Sister Chen? Shasha's face darkened. It was impossible to think positively about someone disappearing out of thin air. It's okay. He'll definitely find a way, Chen Sixuan said, seemingly trying to comfort herself. Shasha nodded. Chen Sixuan turned off the lights and heating in the train, conserving the crucial power. Meanwhile, she and Shasha divided the work, one at the front of the train, one in car 1, and one in the rear car, each on duty, keeping a close eye on the situation outside. Outside the armored vehicle's windows, darkness reigned. Eerie whispers seemed to echo in the wilderness beneath the veil, and piercing roars echoed in the darkness, chilling the very air. Inside the cold cockpit, Chen Sixuan, wrapped in a blanket, leaned against the driver's seat, gazing anxiously at the darkness outside. The train was relatively safe. The radar detection system for the vehicle ahead was operating at low power. Lu had just exited the train to check, and the train's exterior armor, including the roof, was intact. Last night's thrilling escape from Yuchi Station, besides that white, climbing monster, who knows how many more there were. The collisions, bites, and attacks had put immense strain on everyone. The darkness teemed with unknowns and terrors, perhaps they hadn't even scratched the surface. Yet, their successful escape from such a precarious situation proved that Lin Xian's upgraded armor had indeed proven effective. Previously, the roof might have been ripped off by the monsters, and the outcome would have been undeniable. But before one crisis was over, another arose. Just as they had escaped the encirclement of the dark, eerie creatures, A strange radio frequency appeared on the train. In the darkness, Chen Sixuan breathed a sigh of relief. The thought of that inexplicable, eerie radio frequency sent a chill through her. Could there be something even steel armor couldn't protect against? Strange events were piling up: zombies, insect monsters, fog, mutations, each more terrifying than the last. In a short while, it felt like she was having countless nightmares. It'll be alright, she mentally reassured herself. In addition to the energy reserves in the Huangsing 7F electric locomotive, the Infinity train also contained over 1,000 liters of gasoline scavenged from Tanghai. Some of this fuel was pumped into the gas turbine's tank, while Lin Xian had reserved the remaining portion for backup. Meanwhile, with sufficient supplies, the group remained aboard the train, safe for the time being. The only problem was that if they remained where they were, the encroaching tide of darkness would plunge Yuchi City into polar night in just a few days. At that point, they would be left to their fate. In the distance, on the winding mountain road, several headlights flashed continuously, suggesting a fleeing convoy. Chen Sixuan noticed the sounds approaching and grew wary. But soon, the convoy retraced its route along a road several kilometers away, heading towards Yubai City. Chen Sixuan breathed a sigh of relief. Throughout the night, the sounds of large and small convoys could be heard, but due to the vast distance between the railway and the highway, few noticed the massive train parked in the wilderness. With the radio disabled and unable to receive any external information, the train felt like a lone ship in the dark ocean, a wave of despair rising in its heart. Beep, beep. The alarm on her watch rang, joking Chen Sixuan from her light sleep. It was now 1 a.m., deep in the night. She immediately rose and went to carriage number 1. Kiki was still unconscious, and there was still no sign of Lin Xian. Even the sound of footsteps, as before, had disappeared. "Sister Chen?" A slightly sleepy voice broke the silence of the car. Sasha slowly sat up from the sofa, the heavy quilt sliding down to her waist. She rubbed her still sleepy eyes and looked in the direction of Chen Sixuan. "Do you want to switch shifts? I'll go to the front to guard." Chen Sixuan waved her hand and whispered, "It's okay. You get some sleep first. I'll come over here and observe to see if there's any other movement." "I can't sleep," Sasha muttered. "Brother Lin isn't back yet, and I can't sleep either." "Okay, don't worry too much. Lin Xian is a superpower. He's definitely better than us." Chen Sixuan forced a smile. Although her heart was beating, she still tried to comfort Sasha. "Yet," Sasha nodded. The lights in the car were not on, and all the sunshades were closed, leaving only a faint light. Carriage 1 is by far the most fully equipped car on the Infinity, the one Lin Xian spent the most time building. Over 20 meters long, it houses a living area with a sofa, a dining table, and a supply locker filled with food, water, and some weapons. Lin Xian also keeps his A33K heavy sniper rifle here. The black barrel measures 1,557 millimeters long and weighs 14.8 kilograms. It fires 12.7 millimeters .50 BMG, tungsten armor-piercing rounds. According to Kiki, it's a truly powerful anti-material weapon. Lin Xian originally wanted to give it to Dalu, but Dalu said he wasn't very good at sight and was clumsy, so he couldn't handle it more than a firewood stick. He preferred the more powerful light and heavy machine guns, so Lin Xian temporarily placed it here. "Sasha, can you teach me how to use this?" For some reason, looking at the rifle, Chen Sixuan suddenly had a strange thought. "Huh?" Sasha exclaimed in surprise. "Sister Chen, this thing is very heavy." Chen Sixuan took a deep breath. "I know, but if I can help provide cover fire, we'll have an extra source of firepower when we encounter monsters, and it can also help relieve some of the pressure. Newcomer, please follow me and vote for me. There will be a burst of updates after it goes on sale on December 1st. Don't wait for the book to be published. Just turn to the last chapter when a new chapter is released." Chapter 83 Frequency Band. Chen Sixuan's eyes were slightly stern. Many times when the team encountered danger, she could only hide in the safest place in the car. Although Lin Xian felt that she was helpful, Chen Sixuan had experienced so many fierce battles and her mentality had become tougher. She felt that she had to master some self-defense methods. Now that Lin Xian was not around, this need became even stronger. Sasha looked at Chen Sixuan in surprise and stuck out her tongue. "Okay, but I'm not very good at it. I only know how to shoot, but I don't know how to shoot accurately with a sniper rifle." "It doesn't matter." Chen Sixuan walked over and took the sniper rifle off. As soon as she held it in her hand, she felt a sudden heaviness. She gritted her teeth and picked it up, exhaling softly. It's really heavy. But this weapon, if it's like the monster we encountered before, this gun might come in handy, of course. Sasha nodded. This thing is very powerful and has a very long range. I've seen it on TV before. One shot can shoot through a car. Sister Chen, this is the trigger. The safety is here. Okay, this is a bracket. Such big guys usually need a bracket. Unless you are very strong, you can't shoot in a prone position without support. What is without support? Just lift it. It's heavy, you probably can't do it. Also, this is on cubic meter 10x optical superscope. It can see very far. Sister Chen, position the gun first and try it out. By the way, this type of gun usually has a lot of recoil, so pay attention to your posture, okay? As if her sleepiness had vanished, Chen Sixuan, with Sasha's help, began to diligently learn about gun parts and aiming principles. Dong dong. Suddenly, a sound was heard, and the two of them stopped immediately. Sister Chen, Sasha whispered. That sound seems to be coming from outside. Chen Sixuan frowned and quickly made a gesture to silence herself. Then, she tiptoed to the window and lifted a window shade. A flashlight suddenly flickered on the side of the car. Chen Sixuan immediately covered her mouth in surprise. Someone's outside. Whoosh! In the darkness, the wind and snow intensified, and the lights on the entire train were off. Chen Sixuan and Sasha stood in carriage number 1, nervously looking outside. It seems like there's more than one person, Sasha whispered. Sister Chen, our car may have been targeted. Chen Sixuan looked uneasy. This road is a major traffic artery leading to Dalao Mountain and Yubai City. It's not far from the highway. Maybe someone saw a train parked here and wanted to come and investigate. Then what should we do? Should we respond? Sasha asked. Have you ever encountered this situation before? My brother and I used to run into other teams while driving, but most of the time we were on our own. Sometimes, the more friendly ones would chat during the day or group up at night. But with us now, others might be more curious. Chen Sixuan shook her head. Let's check the situation first. It's nighttime now, and it's dangerous out there. If it's just other survivors coming up to investigate, they'll just take a quick look and leave. But if they have ulterior motives, we have to be careful. Sasha nodded. Yes, Brother Lin has upgraded his armor, so we should be safe. Chen Sixuan nodded, then suddenly remembered something. She pulled Sasha closer and whispered in her ear, go warn your brother and tell him to watch out back. We have 2 more cars on our trailer. Yes, Sasha's eyes widened. Those 2 cars were parked in the open-air trailer. If someone quietly drove away, it would be a big loss. Understanding this, she immediately crouched and ran back. Chen Sixuan walked to the cockpit and peered out the window. The night was as dark as ink. A rustling sound echoed from the tracks. There seemed to be several footsteps outside the train. As the footsteps approached, Chen Sixuan immediately stepped back, hiding in the shadows of the passageway. Bang bang. Just then, someone began to climb onto the front of the train. A flashlight shone in, peering inside. Looks empty, a man whispered. Maybe they're sleeping in another car, another said. Be careful. This car is fully armored. It's definitely not an ordinary train. You stay here and watch. I'll make some calls, okay? In the shadows, Chen Sixuan covered her mouth tightly. While the flashlight wasn't shining, she quietly made her way to car 1, picked up the intercom, and hid in a corner. Sasha, there are a lot of them. Be careful, okay? If they try to do anything, we'll fire warning shots. Yes, just to intimidate them first, to show they were armed. A regular group of survivors would probably be scared off. Sister Chen, those guys haven't moved, so who knows what they might be up to? If a fight breaks out, do you think we should leave? Sasha asked worriedly over the intercom. Chen Sixuan's face darkened. She certainly understood the situation. The train's lights were off, and snow was piling up on the roof. This situation might send a bad signal to the others. That's definitely not right. Lin Xian hasn't come back yet. She glanced back, where the radio still rested quietly on the sofa. Her subconscious told her that Lin Xian was still on the train. If she left now, she wondered if she would cause him any trouble. That's right. Brother Lin, listen, Sister Chen. As she finished speaking, the 2 women suddenly heard a faint noise from inside the carriage between 3 and 2. This time, the sound was from within the carriage itself. For some reason, Chen Sixuan felt a mixture of fear and joy at the noise. She and Shasha both felt it belonged to Lin Xian, suggesting he was still alive. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, gunfire rang out from car 5. Lu Da was firing a machine gun through a slit near the tailgate. He had noticed a few sneaky men had somehow swerved around to the rear of the car, climbed onto their flatbed, and began untying the iron shackles that bound the car. The sound of machine gun fire instantly echoed through the valley, and a stream of metal blasted across the side of the flatbed and the snow, sending up a shower of sparks and dust. The sneaking men were so frightened that they fled in panic. One unlucky individual was shot through the shoulder, blood splattering the ground as he screamed in agony. The sound of gunfire instantly frightened the thugs in the darkness, and the group quickly vanished into the darkness. Ugh! The resounding gunfire attracted a number of zombies, who howled and scurried towards them from the forest. Some of them have climbed onto the train. Sasha picked up her grenade launcher and said to Chen Sixuan on the intercom, "Sister Chen, please be careful." The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Chen Sixuan frowned when she heard Sasha's words, but at this moment, her attention could only be focused on the carriage, observing the clues that Lin Xian might send. She did not turn on the lights and began to pay close attention to the movements in the carriage. But suddenly, all the lights in the entire train came on, and Chen Sixuan was startled. She looked at the lights above her head, feeling a little confused. With some guesses, she walked to the light control panel and clicked to turn off the lights again. "Newcomer, please follow me and vote for me. There will be a burst of updates after it goes on sale on December 1st. Don't keep reading, just turn to the last chapter when a new chapter is released." Chapter 84 Thugs. In the dark train car, Lin Xian stared at the radio with a solemn expression. He tried to adjust the frequency, but the result remained unchanged. No matter how he adjusted, the frequency would return to 1542. Lin Xian panicked. He had clearly seen through the terrifying influence of this ghost thing, believing it was merely a disturbance of his mind, but he didn't know how to escape this place. A chilling wind blew through the train car. Lin Xian's heart suddenly skipped a beat. Something's wrong. I remember turning on the lights when I picked up the silver antenna. He immediately activated his mechanical heart, and with a clang, he activated the train's lighting system. This time, the light was normal, not swallowed by the darkness, nor did it flicker strangely. Click. But strangely, after just a few seconds, the lights were quickly turned off again. Lin Xian looked at the control panel at the end of the train car in surprise. Who turned off the lights? There was nothing wrong with the Infinity's lighting system. Lin Xian had the feeling that it had been manually turned off, which looked quite eerie. A possibility suddenly occurred to him, and his mechanical heart activated the heater in carriage 1. The interior was chilly. Meanwhile, Chen Sixuan felt a gust of warm air. "It's Lin Xian," Chen Sixuan realized, and without hesitation, she decisively turned the heater off again. At that moment, Lin Xian suddenly stood up from the sofa. It must be Teacher Chen, saving so much energy. Lin Xian's eyes widened as he picked up the radio, a look of amazement on his face. So I'm really stuck in a frequency band? He didn't have time to dwell on why he was stuck on frequency 1542. He was thinking about how to get out. Frequency band, yes, frequency band. The Phoenix Society has a lot of important information on the longwave band LW01, while we wanderers are currently focusing on bands AM07 and AM09. Lin Xian's pupils trembled as he realized what was happening. He was in a strange frequency band, so no matter how he adjusted it, the radio would always display 1542. If that logic holds, then perhaps if the frequency outside is adjusted to a frequency other than 1542, I can adjust it accordingly. Would that give me a chance to escape? Lin Xian frowned again as he stared at the radio in his hand. But it seems I can't adjust it either, right? He thought, remembering something, and picked up the silver antenna. I almost forgot I have this thing, but now Lin Xian hesitated. If he put it back, would the terrifying scene reappear? So what if it does? It's all fake. Lin Xian's brows darkened, and he bravely plugged the silver antenna back in. Sure enough, as soon as the silver antenna touched the radio, a red ghost suddenly appeared from nowhere in the hallway ahead of him, standing eerily. The red-clad female ghost stood motionless, her pale face in the shadows, a strange smile on her face. What are you looking at? Tell me how to get out. He didn't know where the anger came from, but his anxiety completely overwhelmed his fear. he suddenly shouted, causing the red-clad female ghost to freeze. The ghost's eyes flashed with fury. In an instant, she teleported in front of Lin Xian, raising her bloody claws and tearing at his neck. Smash! Lin Xian's eyes flashed coldly, and with a sharp blow, the ghost's head flew off, landing on the ground with a thud. Still trying to scare me, the air fell silent. The red-clad ghost's head rolled to the corner, glaring at Lin Xian with malevolent eyes. Her headless body still stood there, bloody claws raised. Lin Xian knew it was all a lie, so he simply ignored it. After plugging in the silver antenna and turning the knob, he saw that the frequency band number had indeed changed. Sure enough, his previous guess had been correct. This strange radio station must be the main body of this silver antenna, capable of engulfing people in a certain frequency. So if he wanted to escape, he would likely need to have someone outside tuned to the same frequency as him, a frequency that was the same as his, but not 1542. Having figured this out, Lin Xian suddenly felt a sense of clarity. Then how do we get Teacher Chen and me to line? The red-clad female ghost's head quietly rolled to Lin Xian's feet. Lin Xian lowered his head and saw the ghost staring at him with a sinister gaze. Damn it! Lin Xian kicked it away, feeling a surge of irritation. He looked at the headless female corpse before him. Although he knew it was fake, the eerie presence of it still gave him a chill. A sudden thought struck Lin Xian, and he suddenly reached out to grab the red-clad female ghost's dress. Rip! It ripped it to shreds. The red-clad female ghost's dress shredded, revealing a slender figure in a red bikini. So female ghosts wear bikinis too. The ghost's head, though a bit emaciated, rolled to the side. Suddenly, her sinister gaze turned to panic. As the ghost's clothes ripped, the feeling of terror vanished. Instead, he became somewhat detached, and the chill instantly vanished. Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief, pointing at the ghost woman's head and threateningly saying, "Stop bothering me, or I'll strip you naked." Buzz! Elsewhere, outside the infinity, the roar of car engines gradually approached. A large convoy seemed to be approaching the train through the forest. "Sister Chen, that group is getting bigger," Sasha angrily called out over the intercom. "Looks like they were targeting us today." Chen Sixuan frowned. "No way, you guys keep an eye on them. There seems to be some movement over here from Lin Xian." For her, the most urgent task was to help Lin Xian resolve his predicament. She finally managed to hear him, her full attention now focused on carriage 1. Da. As soon as the intercom finished speaking, the rear carriage suddenly exchanged fire. It seemed as if a dozen cars were approaching, preparing to surround the train. Sasha and Dasha immediately returned fire, while a number of zombies also rushed over from the snowy plains. Outside, the wind blew fiercely, a blizzard approaching. Suddenly, a thumping sound echoed from the roof of the train, as if someone had climbed aboard. "Sister Chen, up ahead." Sasha suddenly realized something and immediately picked up the intercom and called to Chen Sixuan in car number 1. Chen Sixuan reacted and immediately ran to the cockpit, intending to close the door to the cockpit to prevent anyone from observing what was inside. If anyone outside knew there were only 3 of them on the train, things could get out of hand. Thumping. The sound raced from the rear of the train to the front at breakneck speed. People in every car peered through the cracks, flashing their lights, and then reached the front. Before Chen Sixuan could reach the cockpit, a face with a strange grin suddenly dangled from the windshield, shining a powerful light inside. The figure had insect-like limbs resembling a scorpion's tail. Chen Sixuan's face paled. A superpower. The man shone his flashlight on Chen Sixuan, his eyes glowing as he exclaimed, "Haha. Turns out there were only 3 of us, and 2 chicks." He then swiftly jumped off the car and ran toward the distant convoy. "Oh no," Chen Sixuan thought to herself, picking up the intercom. "Sasha, a psychic has spotted us and is running to the back." In car 5, Sasha's face fell. She turned, gun drawn, and shouted up the building, "Brother, take that guy out, newbie. Please follow along and vote." Updates will be coming soon after the book launches on December 1st. Don't wait for the new chapters, just turn to the last one. Chapter 85 Opening. Dasha's expression darkened. He immediately swung his gun to the other side, opened the car window, and fired a burst of bullets at the skinny figure in the darkness. Dasha's body was incredibly agile, and his legs allowed him to run at breakneck speed. He darted through the forest, and Dasha's machine gun, already inaccurate, kicked up a cloud of dirt, rocks, and snow in his wake, missing him completely. The skinny man, with a maniacal grin on his face, shouted towards his convoy as he ran. Ho ha, boss. Just one man, 2 pretty girls, and the rest is all supplies. Hurry, grab them. It's too late, there's even no soup. His words were incredibly provocative, instantly igniting the thug spirit in the convoy. Dasha. Dasha. With the first shot, the convoy opened fire, blasting towards Dasha. A hail of bullets descended, bangs and clangs of sparks flew everywhere. Both the building and Shasha could only duck their guns. Countless car lights and searchlights illuminated the train in the darkness. Seeing the building suppressed by the barrage, the crowd grew even more frantic. Some drove their cars and began to slam the accelerator towards the train, gun barrels jutting out of the windows. There are only 3 of them, there's a ton of supplies on board, kill that man, clang 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 clang. Countless bullets pounded the steel armor of the Infinity, creating a resounding tremor. But the train was like a fortress, and ordinary bullets wouldn't do a thing. But these people didn't care. Their eyes seemed fixed on madness. They simply needed to suppress the building with firepower and then find a way to get to the train. Many of the incoming vehicles began to swerve, while others rushed forward to seize the armored vehicle, and some even raised Molotov cocktails. The Doomsday Thugs began to lay siege to the train. Elsewhere, in the darkness of Carriage 1, Lin Xian paced back and forth, his surroundings utterly silent. A beautiful headless female ghost in red, wearing a bikini, stood aside, and the head on the ground kept watching him walk back and forth. Frequency. Suddenly, he stopped and looked up at the car ceiling light above his head, his heart moving slightly. He remembered the light just now. There was one thing that seemed unaffected by the strange frequency. That was his mechanical heart. Snap! Lin Xian took a deep breath, tried to flash the light twice, and then waited for a response. After a while, the light flashed twice again. There was a hail of gunfire outside, and Chen Sixuan looked at the flashing light, immediately guessed Lin Xian's intention, and turned the light on and off twice. In an instant, Lin Xian looked at the flashing light above his head, and he felt like tears welling up in his eyes. It has to be my teacher, Chen. If the lights could flash, then the simplest method would be Morse code. Let me think about it. AM07, AM07. Number 0, just AM7. Teacher Chen will definitely understand. Chen Sixuan was a university professor and familiar with railways, so she should have some knowledge of international light signals. Lin Xian tried to recall. On-off means long, on-off means short, with a 1-second interval in between, so it should be. So, Lin Xian began to activate the mechanical heart to illuminate the lights. First 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, signaling for help and indicating to the other party that he was using light signals. A fierce battle was brewing on the Infinity. Bang, bang, bang. The building, under a hail of gunfire, continuously returned fire through the train windows. Brother! There are too many of them, Lu Shasha shouted, firing another grenade out the window. Bang! The grenade struck the front left hood of a pickup truck squarely. With a roar, the engine and tires exploded, and the vehicle overturned due to inertia, rolling down the hillside. The fate of the occupants remained unknown. Countless bullets rained down, and as the fire intensified, the occupants realized they were a large convoy of thugs. By then, several advanced vehicles had reached the front of the train. A dozen eager thugs ducked down and dispersing, some running toward the front of the train, others toward car number 5 and the armored vehicle. The thugs began using various tactics to try to open the train's doors. The tailgate was already crowded with people armed with steel pipes, crowbars, machetes, and even tow-hooks and chainsaws pulled from SUVs. Everyone frantically awaited the moment the doors would open. Don't be afraid, everyone. There really are only 3 of them. We've found a treasure. Let's seize the car behind us first. The train's firepower clearly had little deterrent effect on the frenzied thugs, some even shouting. Suddenly, a dark figure in the convoy leaped sideways onto the roof of a moving train. With a powerful stomp, his foot unleashed a powerful force, denting the roof and launching himself high into the air like a cannonball. Boom! The figure landed on the roof of the Infinity, raised his fist, and slammed it down. Bang! Despite the immense force, the armor only dented slightly. Seeing this, he was surprised. It seemed this train's armor was more than just ordinary steel. After failing to land, the figure rushed to the rear of the train, attempting to open the hydraulic tailgate. Brother, it's a psychic. Hearing the loud noise overhead, Sasha and the building reacted instantly. Boom! The man tumbled across the roof of the car, landing on the rear end. He knelt on one knee, formed a palm, and solidified it into hard, black metal skin, which he then inserted into the gap between the tailgate and the car body. A whirlwind of sparks erupted. His skin was surprisingly tougher than steel, and he actually tried to defeat the hydraulic press with his bare hands. He pulled the hydraulic plate a tiny gap, inserted his other hand simultaneously, and attempted to forcibly pull the hydraulic tailgate open with both hands. But the hydraulic tailgate strength was too great to pry open so easily. He simply held the gap open and shouted to the rear, "Zulaozin, hook up." "Alright," another skinny man with a scorpion tail shouted, pulling out a metal hook from the front of several cars, ready to hook the tailgate directly onto it, using the pull of the cars to pull it open. Bang, bang, bang. At that moment, a volley of bullets erupted from the gap. Machine guns were aimed at him from the building below, and only then did he realize the man on the roof was a middle-aged, bearded man. He simply turned sideways, his entire body turning a gray-black. The bullet struck him like metal, deflecting off him. "Brother, good aim, bro," the bearded man smirked, his grip increasing in strength. "I'll open the tortoise shell of yours, newbie. Please read and vote." Updates will be coming soon after the December 1st release. Don't wait for the new chapters. Just turn to the last one. Chapter 86 is now available. Let's have a quick chat. I'm a new author, and this isn't my first book, but it's the best. It's actually my first time writing about the apocalypse, and I was surprised by the support. First of all, thank you all for your patience. Newcomers are like that. I didn't have a clear plan at first. The initial outline of this book was about farming in the apocalypse, upgrading an invincible chariot, and then enjoying a carefree journey, amassing a harem. Facing the overwhelming horde of zombies outside, I could rest comfortably in a well-stocked carriage with a sturdy fortress, living a comfortable apocalyptic life. I believe many people have fantasized about or enjoyed this feeling after watching apocalyptic TV shows, movies, or novels. That's why stories about building apocalyptic shelters have been quite popular in recent years. I was thinking in that direction, too, and everyone reading the setting descriptions would agree. But writing a story and imagining a victory are different. For example, building a permanent shelter is a brief moment of excitement, until the community is done with all the show-offs and pretentiousness. Then what? Another example, the train upgrades to an invincible fortress, with no danger and a sense of security. Inside the steel fortress, I cuddle with a beautiful woman for a few days. How should I write the next chapter? Cultivating immortality? So I started rethinking the setting, wanting to write about a dangerous apocalypse. In this apocalypse, survival and insecurity are the core themes. Security is built and acquired step by step, but the darkness holds countless possibilities, and existential crises are ever present. Crisis is the driving force. If a post-apocalyptic novel lacked a protagonist facing an existential crisis, wouldn't it just become a fantasy level-up, face-slapping stunt? As you can probably tell from many of the previous reviews, this book's trajectory is somewhat skewed from what many readers assumed. For example, if you think the apocalypse should be about lone wolves, you'll start criticizing women in the first chapter, but if you don't write about women, some will accuse you of being a eunuch. For example, if you think the apocalypse should be about hiding and developing, then becoming invincible and strolling around with a sense of security, they'll constantly criticize me for not letting the protagonist stop and develop with such amazing abilities. It was to avoid this problem that I designed the apocalypse of the battle royal, and also set up time devouring, energy consumption, unknown dangers, and emphasized the functionality of the protagonist's superpowers rather than combat. The purpose was to deliberately prevent everyone from thinking in the direction of hiding. Many people think that the protagonist's mechanical superpowers are so against the sky, and that's how it should be played. Playing it that way, according to the author's writing style, is just lowering the intelligence. I almost added a setting that, protagonist is prohibited from hiding, and will die directly if he exceeds 24 hours, helpless. P.S. Actually, I listened to the opinions in the comment section, and I really stopped to rest and develop for 3 or 4 chapters, and was scolded for being too watery. For example, I think the protagonist of the apocalypse should be decisive and ruthless, and the supporting characters should be killed in 1 second if they have any ideas and schemes. All characters are either loyal brothers responsible for showing shocked expressions, or vicious villains who come out to receive the way to death. But I never labeled a protagonist as ruthless and ruthless. He's simply a college student with superpowers, plotting a seemingly insane escape plan. I believe that even the supporting characters and bystanders possess their own unique perspectives on survival in the apocalypse. The protagonist's powers are merely the foundation of the underlying structure. Achieving such a goal requires teamwork and solidarity. Those who have read this story will have seen that I strive to develop each character over a long period of time. For example, Kiki, Teacher Chen, and later, Sasha and her new teammates will also play key roles in the story. From the girl on the helicopter in Chapter 1, to the much-criticized Chapters 23-26, a scheming and insecure passenger, mutual suspicion, to the subsequent reconciliation and the gradual understanding of Kiki's character. I admit that my writing skills are still immature, and I can't achieve the same few strokes as the masters, bringing a vivid character to life. Long stories are the only option. So, as a new author, seeing good results but constantly being criticized, I struggle with how to revise my work, and it can become a bit of a schizophrenia. However, with the guidance of my editor, I was able to adjust my mindset. Some people prefer the pretentious, secure apocalypse, while others prefer the one filled with uncertainty and the test of survival. Each story has its audience. Some longtime readers have criticized it, saying it feels like it was written 10 years ago. I completely agree. I haven't read Filled Tomatoes stories in years, and haven't considered those brand new tropes, the pretentious, face-slapping, and charade-filled, 3-chapter-long, sizzling, whimsical writing. Nor do I intend to follow that formula, despite the title being Fluid. As you can tell from the introduction, it's not the kind of witty, meme-fueled, comedic, or downright cliched survivalist. This is a completely unpredictable survival adventure. Natural disasters, blizzards, darkness, strange phenomena, the supernatural, sky monsters, puzzles, combat, all covered. Food, water, energy, air, warmth, and so on, all contribute to a constant lack of security. Survival is always the main theme of the apocalypse, and the wheels of adventure are constantly rolling. Finally, I have said everything that needs to be said. I will work hard and update more frequently. I hope to write a post-apocalyptic novel that is interesting and not cliched. I also hope that everyone will support me with monthly votes and subscriptions. Please bear with any shortcomings. Thank you all, friends. If you like this book, you can join the group. When I am not typing, I will chat with you about the content of the book. If you have any ideas, you can also share them. It will be on the shelves tomorrow. I beg all the big guys who support the book to give me a first order. Thank you very much. Thank you, it will be on the shelves tomorrow. I beg all the big guys who support the book to give me a first order. Thank you very much. Chapter 87. How hard are you? Squeak. The hydraulic tailgate whimpered, and the steel plate he grasped began to deform. You're looking for death? Dasher roared, his eyes blazing with rage as he recognized the other man's extraordinary abilities. He dropped his machine gun and, wielding the greatsword with both hands, thrust it directly into the crack in the tailgate. With a swish, a tremendous burst of force, the sword's edge sliced through the tailgate, slicing through a corner of the tailgate. The bearded man's eyes hardened, as if sensing the danger. He suddenly loosened his grip, then closed it again, clamping his palms around the blade. With a sharp grinding sound, sparks flew, accompanied by a piercing scraping sound. What a strength! The bearded man smirked sinisterly, clawing at the blade with one hand. He leaped into the air and fell towards the vehicle, tearing the greatsword through the crack in the tailgate. Judging from his stance, he was actually preparing to use the force of his sword to sever the tailgate's connection. What a fierce move! Dalu hadn't expected the other man to possess not only his ironclad supernatural powers, but also remarkable agility and skill in combat. With a swift drag, he lost his strength, and the blade was torn apart. Ah! Dalu let out a loud cry, veins bulging. He exerted almost all his strength, and with a sudden jerk, he ripped the steel-cutting sword from the bearded man's iron-like grip. Scorpion! The bearded man yelled. Clang clang clang. At that moment, several scorpion-like whips suddenly appeared, hooking onto the hydraulic tailgate, which had just opened slightly. Use the hook to open it. I'll go ahead and prevent them from escaping, okay, boss? The skinny monkey who had been exploring the way earlier, with his scorpion tail, firmly hooked the tailgate. At the same time, several nimble men yanked the metal hooks onto the tailgate, preparing to use their vehicles to pull it open. Boom, boom, boom. Above the train, the sound of running began. Lu Shasha, looking at the roof, immediately picked up the intercom and shouted to Chen Sixuan, "Sister Chen, be careful up ahead. Someone's coming." In car number 1, Chen Sixuan was concentrating on observing the flashing lights. The 3 short, 3 long, 3 short distress signals instantly recognized them as Morse code. Hearing footsteps overhead, she immediately grabbed her gun and rushed to the cockpit, fearing the enemy had damaged the front of the train. Bang! But just as Chen Sixuan ran into the cockpit, the bearded man suddenly dropped from the sky, standing outside the porthole. With both hands, he grabbed the armored grill in front of him. With a single move, he forcibly bent the grill open, revealing a hole the size of a bowl. He raised his dark hand, gazing at the pale Chen Sixuan within with a scorching gaze, and sneered, "Little sister, where are you trying to run to? Play with me, I'm tough." Immediately, his gleaming metallic palm pierced the window glass. "Ah!" Chen Sixuan screamed and took a step back, feeling a chill in her heart. "Open it," the bearded man shouted, stabbing with one hand. The steel grills could stop the monster, but he really didn't care about the windshield. But just as he was about to pierce with all his strength, and his fingertips were about to touch the glass, he suddenly stopped. Ugh! The bearded man's pupils trembled violently at this moment, because he found that he couldn't move. The expected cracking sound didn't come. Chen Sixuan slowly lowered her hands, but saw that the bearded man was frozen in place with a look of fear on his face. Just as her mind was blank, a familiar voice suddenly rang out from behind her. "Stinky uncle, how tough are you?" Chen Sixuan turned around suddenly, her eyes suddenly brightening with joy. The girl standing in the aisle of the carriage, her eyes glowing, her hair moving without wind, and her whole body emitting bursts of murderous aura. Who else could it be but Kiki? Up! The bearded man's pupils trembled violently. Not only was his body unable to move, but even his voice and breathing were frozen. A psychic. Terrifying psychic powers. In a split second, a chilling chill washed over him. Buzz! Kiki waved his hand, and the bearded man shot out from the spot like a black iron ball, crashing into a jeep charging from the side. Bang! Boom! Boom! The immense force of the impact smashed the jeep into a C-shape, rupturing its tires and sending the entire vehicle flying. "Kiki!" Chen Sixuan exclaimed. "Sister Chen, hurry!" Kiki's expression was now slightly cold, her eyes glowing a brighter white than before. Her hair moved without a breeze, and a powerful force of evolution suddenly emerged. She pointed toward car number 1, where the lights were flashing. "Hurry, save Lin Xian, okay?" Kiki's appearance instantly pulled Chen Sixuan back from the brink of despair. She nodded with joy and immediately ran towards car number 1. Kiki turned around, listening to countless thugs climbing onto the train, and she erupted in anger. How despicable! As the looting raged, an invisible shockwave erupted from the center of the train like an autumn wind, sweeping away fallen leaves. Boom! In an instant, those near the train, those climbing onto the flatbed tow trucks to grab cars, and the dozen or so cars parked nearby were all blown away. The shockwave, like radiation, sent clouds of snow and dust billowing away. Ah, ugh, what? Countless screams and cries rang out, instantly sweeping away the thugs in front. The car, blown away, had carved a long, shallow crater in the snow. Amidst the raging flames, the bearded man staggered to his feet from the rubble, looking utterly disheveled. His metallic skin was covered in deep scars, blood dripping slowly. He wiped the blood from his nose and mouth, looked at the girl in horror, and exclaimed, quite shocked. "Awesome, boss, that girl is amazing, don't worry, one psychic can't do anything. This car's broken down, it's like a can of meat. It's only a matter of time before we get it open. Yeah, then let's go." Oh, fuck, the younger brother suddenly cried out in terror. Smack. The bearded man slapped him. "Who the hell are you calling a S.T.?" The younger brother pointed fearfully at the sky behind him. "Not boss, there's a monster." A humming sound suddenly erupted, shaking the very earth, and the snow seemed to tremble. The bearded man felt a chill down his spine and slowly turned, but before he could see clearly, he felt an immense black object bearing down on him. The next moment, flesh and bone crumbled as an invisible force instantly transformed more than a dozen people into flesh and blood. Aboard the Infinity, Sasha and Building had just taken a breather from the pressure of the siege when Kiki ran over. Building, Sasha, closed the window, bang. As soon as the words left his mouth, several loud crashes erupted, accompanied by a powerful dragging sound. "Ah, run, what the hell, in the sky, countless screams and cries echoed outside the car. Sasha looked up and saw several giant shadows, obscuring the sky, gliding past a window. What the hell is that? Tentacles, Kiki shouted. Swoosh. Clack. Clack. It was as if countless giant steel cables were pressing down on the train, then slid past at a rapid speed. The zombies and thugs outside vanished in an instant, and a splatter of blood dyed the snow beneath the darkness red. Kiki, newly awakened and still pale, pulled Sasha to a squat position, shouting, "Hold on, empty, empty, empty." In the darkness, countless gigantic tentacles slowly swept across the train, like a giant fishing net, sweeping away the convoy of thugs and the surging zombies. The tentacles seemed to carry an invisible force that shattered flesh and blood. Even the bearded man, with the slightest touch, was reduced to a pool of blood. The terrifying sound continued to press in. Infinity felt like hell. New book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinity Train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 88 Atmospheric Mica. The immense drag sent the entire train lurching forward. Terrifying noises echoed from the roof and sides, and Chen Sixuan lost her balance and fell to her knees. She stared at the dark figure outside the window, her mind blanking with fear. But the flashing headlights overhead quickly brought her back to her senses. Lin Xian. Lin Xian. Save Lin Xian. Chen Sixuan gritted her teeth and sat up. She stared intently at the light, repeating over and over again, "One short, one long, A2 longs, M2 longs, 3 shorts, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. 7? What does that mean?" Chen Sixuan's lips were dry, her heart racing. She suddenly glanced at the radio on the sofa, her eyes wide open. AM07. That's the frequency band. I get it. She had just stood up when boom. A massive tentacle slid past the side of the train with a resounding crash, nearly flipping the entire train over. Chen Sixuan lost her balance and fell to the ground again. Without a second thought, she stubbornly climbed to her feet, turned on the radio, and tuned it to AM07. Meanwhile, Lin Xian stared at the radio, his expression grave. He had already tuned it to AM07, waiting for Teacher Chen to make a move. But after a long wait, there was still no response. What's going on? Was I wrong? That shouldn't be the case. Lin Xian stared at the radio in his hand, cold sweat pouring down his forehead. His mechanical mind could sense the car's violent tremors, yet nothing was happening where he was. Strange radio station 1542, why did we encounter it? But be careful, this thing can pick up more than just human activity. He suddenly realized what Zhang Yun had said. Oh, right, the strange blood essence, that's what activates the dark radio. Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. He had only triggered this terrifying frequency after placing the strange blood essence on the radio. He suddenly remembered, hadn't he taken the strange blood essence off? Lin Xian took a deep breath and immediately began searching. I clearly remember holding it in my hand. It must be mine, but he couldn't recall a thing now. Ever since entering this strange frequency range, he had completely forgotten he even had a strange blood essence in his hand. It's not on the sofa, where's the floor? Lin Xian was anxious. He turned on the light and began to crawl on the ground. The blood red bead should be easy to find. Where is it? He crawled on the ground, his face solemn, searching inch by inch. Lin Xian searched the ground until he suddenly saw a pair of pale legs. He looked up and saw it was the headless female ghost in a bikini. Go away. Lin Xian pushed her away, and the ghost took a step to the side. Hey, wait. Lin Xian stood up suddenly, his eyes fixed on the red dress on the ground and the bikini on the ghost, then on the head in the corner. Their eyes met. After a long moment, Lin Xian frowned and spoke slowly. Why are you dressed in red? As soon as these words left her mouth, the ghost's expression suddenly changed. Her head flew up, fangs bared, and she bit at Lin Xian. Snap! Lin Xian raised his hand and grabbed her head midair. Oh, I see. No wonder I heard the sound of glass marbles, so it was you. The ghost's expression turned terrified, and the lights on the entire train began to flicker violently. Lin Xian's eyes fixed on her. He grasped the ghost's head with both hands and squeezed hard. Snap! The head quickly disintegrated under his pressure. A cloud of red mist released and then gathered. Lin Xian felt a slight hallucination. When he blinked again, a red bead was already in his hand. A strange blood essence. You trapped me with my car, killed me with my knife, and even used my things to transform into ghosts to scare me. This is truly mental torture. Lin Xian's expression changed slightly. He picked up the radio and inserted the strange blood essence. Snap! In an instant, the surroundings rapidly shrank, and Lin Xian felt only a flash before his eyes. Then, boom! The massive impact sent him stumbling, his eardrums ringing. Lin Xian, before he could react, Teacher Chen threw himself into his arms, and at the same moment, the entire train nearly tipped over. Teacher Chen, be careful! Lin Xian instinctively pinned Chen Sixuan down, shielding her beneath him. The infinity seemed to be swallowed by some monster, and a violent grinding sound echoed from all directions. Boom boom boom. Hollow, hollow, hollow. The immense sound tortured everyone's eardrums. After an unknown amount of time, the terrifying sound finally faded. What the hell was that? Chen Sixuan stood up, her face filled with fear. She was completely limp, leaning against Lin Xian, her strength gone. Lin Xian supported her, and the two of them entered the cockpit. They saw that both sides of the track had been completely flattened, leaving countless gullies. The track several hundred meters ahead was almost completely destroyed. The horrific scene was incredibly terrifying. Lin Xian, look! Chen Sixuan raised her gaze and saw a scene that made her gasp. In the sky ahead of the train, a giant jellyfish, the size of an island, slowly drifted above the valley. It was a sight so bizarre it was terrifying. Lin Xian's face was filled with shock. This thing shocked him almost as much as the giant floating corpse he had seen in the black fog. How many unknown horrors lay in this dark night? Just then, Sasha and Kiki stood up and ran to car 1. Brother Lin, Sasha had barely recovered from her shock at seeing Lin Xian when she saw the gigantic, strange form and screamed in shock. Even the usually taciturn Lu Yi's face changed drastically at the sight of this bizarre creature. Kiki stepped forward, her eyes wide with wonder. Atmospheric mica, this bizarre creature resembled something out of old interstellar horror literature. How can we shoot this thing with a gun? Sasha exclaimed in disbelief. Lin Xian surveyed the surroundings, his face darkening. We're lucky we weren't swallowed by it, he said. Everyone watched with lingering fear as the giant, eerie shadow slowly vanished into the darkness. After a moment, they finally breathed a sigh of relief, relieved from the immense pressure. It's gone, oh my god, that's scary, Chen Sixuan exclaimed. Sasha, having recovered, looked at Lin Xian and Kiki. Brother Lin, you're finally back. Where were you? And Sister Kiki, one of you unconscious and the other missing? You scared us to death. Lin Xian glanced at Kiki, who gave him a chuckle. It's a long story. Wait a minute, let's get to know the situation first. Come with me, get off the train, inspect the damage, and see if we can restore the tracks. Little one, Lin Xian said, looking at Kiki. Are you feeling any worse? Kiki shook her head, hands on her hips. Conductor, I'm feeling very alert now. Lin Xian looked at her, sensing a change in her demeanor. He gave Kiki a meaningful look and said to her, okay. Use the drone to check the surrounding situation. Sasha, you keep watch, and me. Chen Sixuan also spoke at this time. Lin Xian saw that she looked tired. You take a rest first. If you are sure that we are out of danger, we will enter the Daluo Mountain South Line after I repair the track. We are waiting for you to drive. Chen Sixuan shook her head and said, it's snowing heavily outside. I'll make something to eat. Kiki just woke up and her body should not have recovered yet. Yes, Kiki said at this time. Aren't you worried that the thing is still in the sky ahead? Lin Xian also thought it made sense, so he nodded and said, that's right, then let's rest for a while and set off again when it's dawn. New book is on the shelves, begging for monthly tickets, infinite train, rushing into the sky. Thank you so much. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89 Hot Pot. The late-night thugs, coupled with the encounter with a massive, uncanny entity, were so horrific that everyone broke out in a cold sweat. The barrier around Car 5 lowered, and 2 flashlights flashed. Lin Xian and the building gazed at the scene outside, their expressions etched in a slight hue. Lin Xian couldn't think of any other word to describe it except horrific. A blizzard poured into the train. Lin Xian closed the gate connecting Car 5 to Car 4. The flashlight shone through the 2 cars on the flatbed car behind him. The armored vehicle was still recognizable, while the remaining SUV was reduced to a heap of scrap metal. The tentacles of the atmospheric jellyfish swept along the tracks, completely wiping out a large convoy that had looted in the middle of the night. Not even a body was found, let alone a human. The roadside and hillside were covered in splattered blood and various car fragments. A black gully a meter or two deep had been created in the ground, quickly covered in a layer of white by the blizzard. Lin Xian tightened his collar, jumped off the train, and, grimly exclaiming at the train's armor, exclaimed, "Thank goodness they've reinforced the roof, otherwise we'd be doomed." The train's armor was already largely deformed, its sturdy high manganese steel covered in drag marks, and the track pillows beneath the train were practically shattered. Lin Xian felt a surge of gratitude. If he hadn't spent 2 nights upgrading the train's armor in Yuchi, no one would have survived tonight. "Brother Xian, can this be repaired?" It was the first time Lin Xian saw a look of panic on the large man's face, and indeed, he was shocked. Strangely, he discovered that after entering the terrifying illusion of the 1542 frequency band, his fear threshold seemed to have increased significantly, and he felt less frightened now. "Not a big deal," Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief, surveying the train. "It'll just take a while, but it's better than losing your life. In the apocalypse, everything is lacking, but as long as you survive, nothing will matter. Let's go and fix the track first. If we encounter any other troubles, we will be trapped here." At this time, Kiki walked out of car number 5 and jumped down lightly. "Lin Xian, I'll help too." Lin Xian looked at her. "Didn't I ask you to use a drone to explore the surroundings? I've checked it, and guess what?" Kiki pointed to the dark sky. "After that thing passed by just now, there's nothing else that can move around here except us." Lin Xian frowned. "So ferocious?" Kiki nodded. "This thing is definitely not on the same level as the strange bodies we encountered before. Sasha just told me that she saw an Iron Guard brigade during the day. I guess they are here to deal with this thing." "Army? Then we have to speed up," Lin Xian said with a slightly gloomy face. "If this thing passes Dalao Mountain and enters Yubai City, we may not be able to get on the high-altitude corridor, so I'm here to help." Kiki put on a thick down jacket that Sasha had found in Yuchi City before. The howling wind and snow made her little face a little red from the cold. She walked toward the front of the train. Lin Xian, watching her from behind, suddenly called out, "Zhao Enki, that's a nice name. How can it be nice? I'm just Kiki, country bumpkin." Kiki spat at him, walking forward without looking back. Lin Xian smiled but said nothing more. Judging from Kiki's reaction, she knew what had happened in her coma. Laying the track was both simple and cumbersome. Lin Xian had plenty of track steel in his decomposition space. The problem was that the entire section of the railway had been damaged, requiring backfill and the laying of stone sleepers. However, Lin Xian opted for a simpler method, a simple steel frame. Fortunately, the damaged area was small, so the train could barely pass through without much trouble. Clang, clang, clang. The steel frame and track steel rapidly formed under Lin Xian's mechanical heart, beams and columns being laid and welded. Everything proceeded in an orderly manner. Kiki watched Lin Xian repairing the track and glanced at him. "How did it feel when the train flew that day?" "Very exciting." Lin Xian smiled helplessly. "I didn't expect us to be so crazy. If you're not crazy, you'll die." Kiki wrinkled her nose, with an expression of seeking credit. "You said you wanted to soar into the sky. Look, I helped you achieve the first step first. Indeed, you're the first to achieve this." But Lin Xian looked at the gullies on the track ahead and sighed. "Dangers are lurking in the dark. We have encountered 2 broken tracks before we even got on the planetary orbit. It seems that such problems will be inevitable in the future. We must solve this problem first." Kiki raised her hand and activated her supernatural power. She placed a section of track steel cast by Lin Xian on the steel frame, and then said, "If, as you envisioned, the train is allowed to run off the track in the first stage, then the most direct way is to make the drive wheels tracked. However, there are many disadvantages. Speed, energy consumption, noise, and failure rate are all problems." Lin Xian did not refute, but said, "It is impossible to become rich in one step. The current main line of the Circumstellar Orbit should be unobstructed, otherwise the Federation Phoenix Society would not have been able to mobilize the Interstellar Army Iron Guard Brigade in such a large number. In fact, it has only been a few months since the Apocalypse Day. Both the Federation Phoenix Society and the remaining survivors have begun to adapt, investigate, and research in the process of continuous escape. Although we are hiding now, what is certain is that we are getting more and more information, and the true face of the weird will gradually surface. The exploration of the supernatural power soul value is also constantly growing. It's just that we don't have enough resistance now and have to flee all the way to the east to gain time for survival, development and breathing space. So no matter whether it is tracked, magnetic levitation or wheeled, as long as the problem of broken track can be solved in the short term, the goal will be achieved. I understand what you mean. Kiki breathed a sigh of relief. Anyway, having one more choice is better than having no choice. Living one more day is better than waiting to die on the spot. Yes, Lin Xian nodded. Let's solve the problem of whether there is one or not first, so we absolutely have to go to Dungeon 9. Kiki walked over and patted Lin Xian's shoulder with a serious look. We all rely on your mechanical abilities, Captain. Join the glorious Mecha evolution. Huh, what? I've gone from villain to captain now. Lin Xian looked at her with interest. Yes, you've officially been promoted to my personal captain, Kiki. Kiki winked at him. Do your best. I'll leave my life in your hands, Lin Xian. Back on the train, Lin Xian had already turned on the heating, and the interior was incredibly warm. Although much of the armor was deformed, the Infinity hadn't suffered significant damage overall. The interior was intact, and there were no leaks. A howling blizzard pounded the heavy train, which sat in the darkness. Through the gaps in the sun visor, the interior was filled with the warmth of yellow lights, giving people a great sense of security. Like a matriarch, Chen Sixuan cooked a huge pot of doomsday hot pot with canned beans, beef brisket, braised pork, and vegetables, along with bags of bamboo shoots and vermicelli noodles. The aroma of meat filled carriage number 1, and steam rose from the dining table. Chen Sixuan also gave Kiki her favorite canned fruit and the red wine she'd confiscated from Tanghai. Cheers to Brother Lin's safe return and Sister Kiki's recovery. At the table, Sasha excitedly raised her glass. Cheers to everyone surviving another day. Lin Xian also raised his glass. Cheers to the evolution of my superpowers. Kiki giggled. Huh? Everyone's eyes darted over. Kiki tutted, glancing around at the four of them. What are you standing there for? Cheers first. Cheers. New book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinite Train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 90 Taboo Objects. As they drank red wine and ate hot pot, the 5 people, who had just experienced a life or death moment, felt reborn and toasted to each other. Sister Kiki, have your powers truly evolved? Sasha eagerly responded as soon as she put down her glass. Kiki nodded, a look of pride on her face. Thanks to someone, I can clearly feel my powers have upgraded. No wonder they're so powerful, Chen Sixuan said with a gleaming look. I haven't even thanked you for saving me just now. Why thank me, Sister Chen? You don't know how many times you've saved us. Kiki looked carefree, her eyes slyly at Lin Xian. By the way, Lin Xian, didn't you want to tell me where you've been these past 2 days? Lin Xian smiled. Don't you know where I was? Kiki blushed and asked anxiously. I mean, how did you end up there? The others listened to their conversation, all bewildered. Lin Xian took a deep breath, stood up, walked over to the sofa, picked up the radio, and came over. If there's no other explanation, then I must have been captured by this thing. 1542, strange radio station. Lin Xian then recounted his experiences after the accident. He only briefly mentioned Kiki's experience, stating that he had witnessed Kiki's degeneration and his analysis of it. Lin Xian's account caused the others' expressions to change drastically. So those footsteps were really you? Sasha frowned, as if she had just heard a horror story. So, Brother Lin, you killed me over there? Lin Xian blushed. This is a complete misunderstanding. That thing was just trying to break down my mental defenses. At first, Lin Xian had thought it was a supernatural event. Now, looking back, it seemed that it wasn't just the darkness. It seemed that many unknown forces were undermining the survivor's mental will. Sasha's eyes lit up. So, Brother Lin still cares about me. Seeing me get killed, you almost lost your mind. Lin Xian was stunned. Was this what this little girl was focusing on? Chen Sixuan on the side had a frightened look on her face, so I turned off the radio, and it just happened to remind you. Lin Xian nodded. Yes, thanks to your reminder, and you can help me adjust the frequency band through the light, otherwise I will definitely not be able to get out. Smart Lin Xian. Kiki was surprised. You mean, after I fell into coma, An invisible monster was sucking my blood. Yes, oh my god. Kiki shrank her neck in fear and her face turned green. So disgusting. Lin Xian's face was solemn at this time. He looked at the building. Building, remember what I said when we escaped from Yuchi that day? The building nodded. Lin Xian continued, I was wondering at the time, whether it was sound or light, it could only attract zombies and ghouls. Why when the weirdness was alarmed, the weirdness was already around, and this time I was captured by this weird radio station. I feel that some things may have been around us all the time, but some only appear in the dark, and some require special methods to see. His words made the girls' faces change slightly. Sasha couldn't help but shudder, looking around in fear. Oh my god, are you saying those terrifying things might have been right beside us? Yes, Lin Xian said solemnly. Everyone's expressions dropped. His analysis of the strange entities was based on Lin Xian's speculation. While not entirely certain, it served as a warning to everyone. It also made him more cautious. This incident also made Lin Xian realize the importance of another device, the soul-draining value detector. This device could detect the unique values generated by threats like strange entities and zombies. In some ways, it was a life-saving discovery. Lin Xian's countless near-death experiences along the way showed that if humanity wanted to preserve its vitality, it was crucial to proactively avoid danger. Otherwise, even 10,000 lives wouldn't be enough. I think I seem to know what this 1542 radio station is. At the dinner table, Kiki squinted her eyes and looked at Lin Xian. Strange phenomena, but it has nothing to do with people with superpowers. Lin Xian, have you seen the early information about the Angel project that I gave you? Lin Xian took out the small mobile hard drive and frowned. Not yet. I haven't even slept these days, so how can I have time to look at this? Kiki snapped his fingers, picked up the hard drive, stood up and ran to car number 2, operated on the computer, and then came over with a mobile screen. I think this should be the thing. I used to pay attention to superpowers, but ignored these weird things. Look, on the mobile screen was a copy of the previous Angel Project information. Lin Xian took it and examined the document. It read, Global Investigation Report on Strange Extraordinary Phenomena. This report, from the Special Item Investigation Department, Special Item Investigation Department, a branch of the now-defunct federal government's Project Angel, documented numerous unusual phenomena collected during the early stages of polar night. These phenomena all shared a common thread. They were all discovered to be caused by specific objects, pre-existing on Blue Planet. These objects, believed to have been contaminated by a special power and transformed into extraordinary entities after the apocalypse, were referred to by the Project Angel as forbidden objects, specifically those capable of causing regional or contagious unusual extraordinary events. While this early report documented over a dozen bizarre and unusual phenomena, only 2 were confirmed and contained by the Project Angel. Taboo Object Side 01, Big Ben. Discovery Location, Big Ben, Lisbon. Physical characteristics, the original Big Ben weighed 13.5 tons, with a dial diameter of 6.7 meters. The hour and minute hands were 4.27 and 8.75 meters long, respectively, and the pendulum weighed 305 kilograms. Investigation progress, July 9th, first investigation. 3 experimenters died. Investigation report, loss of communications. July 10th, second investigation. 2 experimenters died. Investigation report. 300-meter range affected. Confirmed. July 11th, third investigation. 3 experimenters died. Investigation report. Experimental animals were moved in, experiencing rapid aging, increasing the communication range and causing the deaths of personnel outside the area. On July 12th, the 4th investigation, 4 experimental personnel died. Evaluation characteristics. This taboo object has the characteristics of a range of aging life forms. The characteristics will be accelerated according to the movement speed of the life form, and will be slowed down in the dark. Containment conditions. Arrange multiple experimental personnel without genetic diseases to enter in the dark, holding hands, and cannot run. Before all the contained personnel age and die, catch the clock. Containment Department, Angel Plan Federation Lisbon City Branch. Taboo Object Side 02, Taxi No. Mo 857404. Discovery Location, Longo, Machen. Appearance characteristics. A standard 4-seater taxi with yellow paint produced in 2057, with a highly decomposed male corpse in the driver's seat. Investigation progress. On July 25, the first investigation, 1 experimental personnel went missing. The investigation report confirmed that within the urban area, after 2:12 at night, if you waved on the roadside, you would disappear mysteriously, and bystanders could not observe. On July 26, during the second investigation, 1 experimenter went missing. The investigation report stated that experiments were being conducted simultaneously at 4 locations within the city, with a missing person at Point C, northwest. This confirmed that the forbidden object could only appear at 1 location. On July 27, during the third investigation, 9 experimenters went missing. The investigation report also stated that the survivor was seriously injured. The survivor reported, evaluation characteristics, this forbidden object possesses the ability to travel over a large area. The farther the destination requested, the greater the price paid. The sole survivor reported that a distance of 13 kilometers required half a kidney. Containment conditions, requires a short distance to the destination, and survival upon payment of the price. Containment Department, Angel Project Federation, Desert City Branch. Kiki opened a bottle of Coke and took a sip, then said to Lin Xian, although the investigation reports aren't many, from what you said, I think that radio station is very likely one of these things. New book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinite Train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 91 Radio. Lin Xian frowned as he looked at it. So this radio station may really have nothing to do with superpowers, and it's not some strange entity or monster, who knows, Kiki shrugged. Even if we knew, these things have no foresight and cannot be detected in advance. Apart from being used to study strange phenomena, they don't seem to be of any use, not necessarily useless. Lin Xian looked at the radio in his hand and said meaningfully, since it can be contained, it means that no matter how strange the power of this thing is, it can be used. It's just that, although he didn't know how the power of this taboo could be used, since he had narrowly escaped death and obtained it, he naturally had to put it away. Maybe it would be of great use in the future. Moreover, it was this strange radio station that allowed Lin Xian to see the monster that was corrupting Kiki, allowing Kiki to complete the superpower evolution. It could be considered a blessing in disguise. Brother Lin, Sasha looked at the radio in Lin Xian's hand, her face filled with caution. Then can we still use this radio? That's easy. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he raised his hand. A mysterious light flashed, and soon, a brand new radio was created. With so many added materials, building a radio was a piece of cake for him. As for the strange radio station 1542, he thought about it and decided to try to devour it through mechanical devouring later in the dead of night when no one was around, just to ensure it was completely safe. Even the strangest thing was just a radio, and this time, the strange power within hadn't affected his mechanical heart at all. Doesn't that mean my code is superior to yours? With this in mind, Lin Xian put away the old radio and built a new one. He followed the previous structure and placed the strange blood essence he had obtained from the 3-faced spider monster on it. It's done. Lin Xian placed the radio on the table and began tuning. Everyone suddenly became nervous. Zizzy Federal Radio YB Area Report, strong fluctuations in spiritual value have occurred in the northern foothills of Daluo Mountain. It has been confirmed to be a B-level super-large strange body, atmospheric jellyfish. The current direction of this large strange body is Yubai City. The Federation Phoenix Society has dispatched the 52nd Brigade of the Iron Guard to intercept it in the area. Survivor convoys heading towards Yubai and Fengcheng along the G1523 and X556 lines please deter. This information is provided by the Federation Phoenix Society Rescue Organization, Federal Radio YB Area Report. Due to the collapse of the Dazhu Mountain Tunnel, the Federation Phoenix Society Xianhe Province branch has urgently arranged a rescue team to repair the Yubai No. 1 airport climbing channel. Survivors fleeing from No. 3-star Yuanlu City, Dingshao, Jiang City, Fengcheng, Luocheng and other directions can go through the Huangxing high-altitude corridor to cross the Dazhu Mountain Plateau. Other optional routes include, North 756 Plateau Highway line is unobstructed, Southeast Expressway GS66, Zizizi City warning, Yubai City is flooded with zombies. Due to the polar night, Airport No. 1 will be closed in 3 days, Zizizi Federation Phoenix Society Global Notice. Due to the dark tide causing global temperatures to drop, some areas are experiencing extreme natural disasters such as blizzards. Important reminder. Testing has shown that both snow water and black rain are affected by the polar night plague, contaminating with unknown pathogens and energy, causing mutations in a large number of wild animals. Filtering and high-temperature distillation can reduce the infection rate to a certain extent. ZZZ Federation Phoenix Society Global Notice: several new types of non-eyed entities have been discovered in some blizzard areas. They pose a significant threat. Please take precautions during the day. Countless messages continuously streamed from the dark radio station, leaving the audience with mixed expressions, unsure whether to be happy or worried. Hearing official news in the apocalypse was somewhat comforting, and this information was extremely important. However, this news undoubtedly cast a shadow over everyone's hearts. Alice, it's not easy to be alive, Kiki was the first to complain. She looked up at the ceiling and said, Lin Xian, let's turn this train into a spaceship and live on another planet. Her words immediately eased the dull atmosphere. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, think about it on the bright side. The climbing channel has been repaired and we don't have to risk rushing up. With the Iron Guard Brigade, we won't be isolated and helpless. There is an electromagnetic accelerator after passing the high-altitude corridor. We will soon reach Jiashao City, 4,500 kilometers away. It will take at least 10 days for Star Abyss number 3 to cover this distance. We can bask in the sun. That's right, Chen Sixuan nodded and frowned, but we have to save some purified water. The blizzard plus water pollution is probably a disaster for animals and plants around the world. Yes, will we never be able to eat delicious fruits and vegetables in the future? Sasha muttered. Of course, Lin Xian said seriously, at worst, we can grow vegetables on the train. We dragon people have the talent to grow vegetables. The nearby buildings looked at them with a strange gaze. How could they suddenly turn to vegetable farming when the discussion was clearly about life and death? To avoid further complications, after dinner, Lin Xian drove the train past a damaged and repaired section of track. He then removed the strange blood essence from the radio and placed it on the soul destruction meter, testing it once. Click. He pressed a meter's button, and a faint red energy suddenly radiated from the strange blood essence, then quickly receded. Soon, the needle on the meter began to slowly move. -21 in the cockpit, Chen Sixuan and Kiki watched Lin Xian use the meter with a hint of curiosity. Is this number high or low? Low. Lin Xian looked at Kiki. Didn't you say that ordinary zombies are like -1? The negative value of this number does not exceed -100, which should mean that there are no strange bodies nearby for the time being. Kiki nodded. That's right, but I don't know how large the detection range of this thing is. It should be a few hundred meters. The range of the bonfire mutual aid meeting that day was not small, Lin Xian said. Okay, Kiki said and yawned. In that case, I can rest a little more easily. I'll go and have a rest first. Sister Chen, remember to wake me up later. I haven't set up the water and oxygen circulation system yet. Okay, go ahead. Chen Sixuan breathed a sigh of relief when she heard Lin Xian's words. After Kiki left, she looked at the detector in Lin Xian's hand, and suddenly frowned. Lin Xian. Look, at this time, the strange blood essence on the detector had dimmed a lot, as if part of the blood inside had disappeared. Lin Xian's expression changed slightly. It's a consumable item, after all. I don't think it'll be used much. Oh my god, something this precious can only be used a few times, Teacher Chen said with regret. But it helps us protect ourselves against risks, so it's worth it. Taking turns keeping watch isn't a permanent solution. If the strange entity can't be seen, even someone on guard won't be able to sleep peacefully, so this detector is extremely important to Lin Xian. The lights in the carriage went out, and the blizzard intensified outside the windows. This heavy train, parked in the snowy plains, finally had a rare moment of rest. The team hadn't slept well in days, and the steel fortress brought a sense of security. Shasha and Kiki fell asleep quickly. In the cockpit, Chen Sixuan watched the corridor lights go out, her body limp, and she threw herself into Lin Xian's arms. The intense days had nearly drained her strength, and Lin Xian's successful return finally gave this woman a sense of support amidst the blizzard. Lin Xian, Chen Sixuan said, tears welling in her eyes and trembling shoulders, sobbing softly. Thank you for coming back. Lin Xian's heart softened. If it weren't for Chen Sixuan, he might not have made it back from that strange radio station. Feelings surged in his heart, he couldn't help but hug her tightly. Thanks to you, new book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinite Train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 92 Work. Inside the dark carriage, the warm air warmed, shielding him from the freezing cold outside the thick armor. Lin Xian lay in bed, his eyes filled with relief as he watched Chen Sixuan, who had fallen soundly asleep beside him. In the apocalypse, a short period had taught him a great deal. Food and water were scarce, and the zombies were certainly deadly, but the loneliness and fear of the pressure of survival were no less overwhelming. Without Chen Sixuan's support, Kiki's abilities, and the help of Shasha in the building, even mustering the courage to live would have been incredibly difficult. As the wind and snow intensified, Lin Xian rose, dressed, and quietly made his way to the cockpit of the giant whale. He activated his mechanical heart and began inspecting and repairing the entire train. The giant, strange object in the sky weighed like a dark cloud on his mind, leaving him unable to sleep. He decided to spend some time repairing the train's armor. The upgraded armor had increased its weight, and the heating in the train cars required the locomotive's reserve power, which directly increased the power consumption of Lin Xian's train. If I don't upgrade my mechanical heart to level 3, running 300 kilometers a day might be a stretch. Hopefully there'll be some useful energy devices in that dungeon to give me some relief. After briefly repairing some of the severe armor deformation, Lin Xian returned to bed, set an alarm, and went to sleep. Because he was using the soul value detector, Lin Xian had only building guard the rear car tonight. The front car had a radar warning system, which gave him some peace of mind. He also needed to recover his strength, otherwise he'd be hard-pressed to handle tomorrow's troubles. Beep, beep, 8 a.m., late at night, Lin Xian woke to the alarm on his watch, feeling much more recharged. Teacher Chen was still sound asleep. As the only two ordinary people on the train, Chen Sixuan's physical fitness wasn't comparable to the other three, and even compared to Sasha, she was considered weaker. After days of intense stress, she'd finally gotten a good night's sleep. Without waking her, Lin Xian got up and opened the gate to car 2, finding Kiki already seated at her computer, working. Hello, boss. Kiki didn't turn on the lights and squatted in front of the computer. The fluorescent light shone on her face, which made Lin Xian suddenly come up with an adjective. Internet-addicted girl. So early, I slept for a long time. Okay, Kiki stretched and looked at Lin Xian with energy. Now I am the most energetic person in this car. Not bad, energetic girl. Are you working on a water and oxygen circulation system? Here Kiki pointed to the screen and clicked her tongue. It's not that simple. First of all, there is the water storage tank. We have to separate the domestic water from the driving water tank. Then there's the water purification system. This depends on the blueprint of the water purifier you plan to manufacture. If you want to develop a heating system, you have to connect the driving water tank and the domestic water tank in a loop in series, and you can add the distillation stage to it, which can purify water and provide heating. The domestic water can be added to the cycle. Although it has been used, it is definitely cleaner than black rain. Then there is the water and oxygen system, which is even more troublesome. If you want to set up a planting compartment, you not only have to do soilless cultivation, sprinkler drip irrigation, etc., which have to be separated separately, not to mention solving the air problem, then you have to seal the entire car before you can get the oxygen cycle. Lin Xian became interested and pulled a chair to sit down. Yes, my original idea was just to transform the original carriage water use, but now we have to consider the problems of water purification, recycling, heating, and planting. It has become a little complicated, but we can first deal with water purification and recycling. As for heating, the current heater system is barely enough. I was thinking that a super large project like Underground City Number 9 must have a complete system. Although we can't copy it directly, we can learn from it, and there may be ready-made ones. Kiki's eyes lit up. Yes, this kind of underground city project must have a green plant cultivation area and a medical system. She clapped her hands as she spoke, looking at Lin Xian eagerly. There is another very critical thing. What? AI system module. Kiki widened her eyes. If we can obtain extremely high computing power, we can directly use the AI system to generate available solutions according to our carriages. Isn't this better than our brains? Lin Xian nodded. That makes sense, and, Kiki said, growing increasingly excited. She spun around in her swivel chair, her legs exposed to Lin Xian in only shorts. Maybe the dungeon itself has an eternal class railcar, used for external supplies or emergency escapes. This supercar is equipped with a small train-sized nuclear power plant. If we can get one, Lin Xian watched her beaming with joy. his lips curling slightly. He certainly hoped all these things would come true. He knew that such a massive dungeon would be filled with all sorts of cutting-edge equipment, a dreamlike place for his mechanical abilities. But he also knew not to be overly optimistic. First of all, the underground city belongs to the assets of the original federal government and the former official. It is still unknown whether the underground city is under the maintenance and operation of the new Apocalypse Federation after the disintegration. Even if everything is good, such a large doomsday underground city must have extremely strict security and protection. Kiki can enter, which does not mean that he can enter. And the most critical problem is that time is running out. The number 1 high-altitude corridor of Yuba-E City will be closed in only 3 days. Excluding the time for traveling, he only has less than 2 days to visit the underground city. However, looking at Kiki's unusual excitement, Lin Xian did not pour cold water on her directly, but nodded and said, "If all goes well, our train may be able to get a huge upgrade. By then, after passing the number 1 high-altitude corridor, we can reach Jinhei from Jiazhou City in less than a week." Who knew that when these words came out, Kiki seemed to smell something. The smile on her face suddenly sank, and she looked at him sharply. "What did you say? What's wrong?" Lin Xian frowned slightly. Did he get the route wrong? Boom boom boom, but before he could react, Kiki suddenly jumped off the swivel chair, ran over barefoot, and leaped onto his lap, straddling him like a cat. Then, grabbing Lin Xian by the collar and pulling him in front of her, she stared into his eyes with a hint of anger. "Jinhei? What? You want to kick me out of the car again?" Lin Xian looked into the beautiful pair of eyes before him, his eyes flickering slightly, and he instantly understood something, and smiled sheepishly. "How could that be? You're our information expert. I was just telling you a route." "Really?" Kiki's eyes were fixed on Lin Xian, and he could almost feel her breath on his face. It felt numb. "Really?" Lin Xian nodded solemnly. With that, the air fell silent. Kiki sat on Lin Xian's lap, their eyes locked. "That's more like it," Kiki said, staring at Lin Xian's eyes for a moment, then suddenly she stretched her neck, opened her mouth and quickly bit Lin Xian's nose, then pushed him away and said, go away, don't disturb me while I'm working." Lin Xian looked a little slow to react, reached out and touched his nose, looked at Kiki in surprise, and found that the latter ignored him directly, put on headphones and hummed a song and started working. What the hell is this trick? New book is on the shelves, begging for monthly tickets, infinite train, rushing to the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 93 Heterogeneity. Lin Xian rubbed his nose as he exited car 2, a look of melancholy on his face. "I got bitten. I wonder if I'll turn into a zombie." He walked past cars 3 and 4, 2 of which had been seized from Tanghai and primarily used for storage. Since there wasn't much in the way of supplies, both were somewhat empty. In fact, Lin Xian had stowed a certain amount of supplies in every car except car 5, to prevent any unexpected situations. He arrived at car 5. Lu Da was sitting on a chair, his gun drawn, on duty. Seeing Lin Xian approach, he stood up and asked, "Brother Xian, are we leaving?" Lin Xian shook his head and gestured, "No, you rest first. I'll guard the back." "Oh, okay." Lu Da knew Lin Xian must have some plans, so he wasn't pushy with his request. He immediately put down his gun and went to sleep after letting him rest. Lin Xian opened the tailgate, ready to swallow the broken SUV and see if he could repair the armored vehicle. The armored vehicle was still very valuable to Lin Xian. He would need to get out of the car later, and having such a powerful vehicle would be much more convenient. The advantage of this open-air trailer platform is that it's easy to load and unload vehicles. However, its disadvantage is that it's completely unprotected. In a convoy like the one last night, it's difficult to defend against someone climbing onto the vehicle and driving it away. However, dedicating a separate car to each vehicle would be quite troublesome. After some thought, Lin Xian decided to drive his vehicle directly into Carriage 5. Carriage 5 had a tailgate, making it easy to get in and out. However, he would have to unload the vehicle first to load other supplies, which wasn't as convenient as his motorcycle. Lin Xian walked over to the armored vehicle, placed his hand on it, and activated his mechanical heart to investigate. It's fortunately intact. The armor should make it more durable. Let's get Carriage 5 first. Looking at the thick snow on the flatbed trailer, Lin Xian considered getting rid of these 2 encumbrances after reaching Underground City 9. But that wasn't possible now. What if there was some large machinery that needed to be towed tomorrow? He would need this large flatbed trailer. Lin Xian then went out and devoured the damaged SUV. He then tidied the tool rack at the rear of car number 5, pushed the armored vehicle inside, and closed the tailgate. He then pulled out his old radio, took a deep breath, and gazed toward the tracks not far away. There, a headless female ghost in a bikini stood eerily, visible only to Lin Xian, who held the radio. A taboo object, huh? Since you're attached to a machine, I need to see what you are. Lin Xian looked at the headless female ghost with a slightly stern expression, thinking to himself, if you give me even one mechanical source point, I'll literally strip you alive. A faint light flickered, and Lin Xian's mechanical heart began to whirl. This strange power surged, and the red-clad female ghost and the radio seemed to resist violently, trembling in Lin Xian's hands, devouring progress 50%. For such a small piece of machinery, Lin Xian's devouring speed only took a few minutes. Devour progress 99%. Countless terrifying wonders swarmed before Lin Xian, and the red-clad female ghost also rapidly strolled and twisted, screaming. But the next moment, just when Lin Xian thought the devouring was about to succeed, a strange message suddenly appeared on the light screen in front of him. Devouring failed. Non-mechanical energy detected. Please upgrade the mechanical heart and complete the awakening before trying again. Notice, non-mechanical energy detected. To protect the mechanical heart, mechanical isomerization is automatically activated to seal the energy. At this moment, Lin Xian's mechanical heart suddenly began to work at high speed, and the radio in his hands suddenly turned like a Rubik's cube, rapidly flipping, and in an instant, it became a rectangular radio with its silver antenna entangled in the middle. Ah! A shrill cry rang out, and the countless terrifying wonders instantly shattered. An invisible force quickly gathered and was sucked into the strange cube in Lin Xian's hand. Holy shit, what's going on? In all this time, this was the first time Lin Xian's mechanical devouring had failed. Non-mechanical energy. Automatically activate mechanical isomerism to seal energy. Lin Xian was a bit dazed. He looked up and saw that the terrifying scene and the red-clothed female ghost had vanished. Instead, the strange radio-like block in his hand seemed to be gathering some kind of energy. He immediately used his mechanical heart to scan it, but found nothing. It was as if the object had turned into a block of stone. Seal. Lin Xian muttered the word, then realized that it was his mechanical heart that was acting, and for the moment, he could only reassure himself. In that case, I'll wait until my mechanical heart reaches level 3 before dealing with this thing. For some reason, Lin Xian had a hunch that the power of this forbidden object might actually be harnessed through his mechanical heart. At 3 p.m., after a peaceful night, Team Infinity enjoyed a rare night's rest. Lin Xian planned to depart before dawn. Since they still had another 100 or 200 kilometers to go after entering the southern route, daylight hours were greatly shortened, so he had to take a risk to save time. After more than 10 hours of sleep, Teacher Chen's complexion regained a touch of rosiness. This was probably the longest and most comfortable night's sleep she'd had since leaving Jiang City, and she felt much more refreshed. In the darkness, the Infinity train carriage lit up with pale yellow lights. Outside, the snow continued to blow, but inside, Chen Sixuan was already preparing food. Besides being the train's navigator, Chen Sixuan now also served as the chef. Lu Da and Shashak, fully armed, were sorting their weapons and ammunition. Kiki had been busy all night, not with the water-oxygen circulation system. At Lin Xian's suggestion, she had upgraded the radar system, focusing its photoelectric sensors on monitoring track conditions perpendicular to the locomotive. Lin Xian thought Kiki's idea was brilliant. It didn't require a complex recognition module and could directly address the Infinity train's most critical issue. Woo! The engines of the electric and gas locomotives blazed simultaneously, the headlights flicked on, and after a night of rest, the Infinity train slowly began to move. Not long after, the train reached the Daluo mountain switch. Lin Xian disembarked in the darkness to investigate, discovering a relatively new track, constructed with high-quality engineering-grade tracks. He adjusted the switch and merged the train onto the branch line. Clang! Clang! Because it was still dark, Lin Xian and Chen Sixuan avoided increasing the speed of the train, maintaining a slow pace and keeping a close eye on the road. The Daluo mountain range loomed majestically in the darkness as the train headed toward the southern slopes. Lin Xian, look, Chen Sixuan said from the cockpit, pointing to the track ahead. 6 tracks. This must be a massive undertaking to require so many tracks. Empty. Empty. Suddenly, a junked car appeared on the track ahead, dragged across it. It was directly shoveled away by the infinity's ice-breaking shield, releasing a roar. Chen Sixuan jumped, and Lin Xian, staring ahead at the headlights, frowned. As they continued to move forward, the tracks on both sides began to widen, and densely packed vehicles appeared in the sight, all blocked on the roads on both sides. Many cars even rushed into the railway and were buried by the wind and snow. So many cars, Lin Xian, there are more and more, bang empty. More and more abandoned vehicles and various sundries began to appear on the railway. Without any obstructions, the terrain began to flatten and wide. There were all kinds of vehicles covered by wind and snow as far as the eye could see, which was suffocating. Beep beep, the driving alarm and the probe radar kept giving reminders. Kiki ran into the cab with a nervous look on his face at this time. There are cars all over the front, and both sides of the road are blocked. There are at least tens of thousands of cars. Lin Xian saw it with a burning gaze, and said in a deep voice, "It seems that they all want to escape to the underground city after the end of the world. I wonder if these people are invited or are desperate to try their luck," Chen Sixuan said. Although the underground city project is a targeted invitation and there is a confidentiality agreement, such a large project must be difficult to hide. Even if only 1% of people regard the rumors on the internet as a life-saving straw, there will be tens of millions of people gathered together. Kiki shook her head inside. It's useless. The underground city must have extremely strong armed forces. Besides, resources are limited. How could those hateful guys put everyone in? The lives of ordinary people are worthless to them. 1645, dawn. As if the tide had receded, the sky suddenly brightened. The sunlight and the reflection of the snow became dazzling. Boom, boom, boom. Sasha and Lulu also entered the cockpit. Shielding themselves from the glaring sunset, they gradually adjusted their vision, and then everyone's expression began to grow heavy. In the vast plains below the mountains, the roads lining the railway were clogged with thousands of cars buried by the wind and snow. Countless zombies roamed among them. The vast multi-track railway was also littered with broken-down cars and abandoned suitcases. Stiffened corpses of various shapes could be vaguely seen beneath the snow. At first, everyone thought it was just rough ground. But it wasn't ground, and there was no ground to be seen. It was just dead bodies. The blocked road stretched for kilometers. Looking up, a few kilometers away, a huge square underground tunnel appeared. Layers of iron mesh and steel walls separated the underground city, and countless large-scale construction machinery was parked around it. That is, underground city number 9, oh my god, Sasha covered her mouth. They actually dug such a big hole in the ground. How many people are going to live underground? Kiki said solemnly, but it looks like it's not only not finished, it seems to have completely stopped. Something terrible must have happened here. Chen Sixuan also looked grim. On the snowy track, the black armored train kept breaking through the obstacles on the rails and moving forward slowly. The huge noise made the zombies around swarm in like ants. The whole world seemed to be dead silent, with only the howling blizzard in the sky. The new book is on the shelves, begging for monthly tickets, infinite trains, rushing into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 94 Dungeon. Clang. Clang. Ugh. The clatter of rails and the howling of zombies resounded through the air. Countless zombies quickly swarmed from all directions, surrounding the infinity. But everyone's attention was drawn forward, their gazes piercing the swarms of zombies and focusing on the awe-inspiring mega-project ahead. With its prodigious horsepower, the infinity, like a steel behemoth, relentlessly shoved aside every car and zombie that blocked its path. Finally, it steadily turned onto the dedicated route leading into the dungeon, slowly approaching the towering perimeter wall. In the center of the track, a massive gate stood, and beyond it was a vast loading and unloading platform, where several high-end freight cars sat quietly. But looking out, the platform was deserted. The various construction vehicles, cranes, and watchtowers in the distance had long since been buried by the snow. It was as if this unfinished mega-project had been frozen in time. This dungeon is deserted, Kiki exclaimed in surprise. Maybe it's already been taken, Lin Xian said gravely. No wonder I haven't heard any survivors mention this place. It's already been a hell. The mountains were teeming with zombies, and the underground city was silent. Except for those like Lin Xian, who were trying their luck in a heavy fortress train, no ordinary convoy could get in. Furthermore, in this hellish scene, if it weren't for Lin Xian's mechanical abilities, who had risked trying to find food here? Should we go in? Sasha asked. Go. Lin Xian glanced at Kiki and decided, I'll open the gate. Teacher Chen, you drive the car in, and the others cover me. With a swish, the cockpit door swung open, and the zombies poured in like a tide. Kiki waved her hand, and an invisible telekinetic barrier instantly sent dozens of the leading zombies flying. Lin Xian, without hesitation, charged out, rifle drawn. A barrage of gunfire erupted, and bullets rained down, clearing a bloody path for his advance. Da-da-da. Fire poured down. Lu Da and Shashat also disembarked, providing cover for Lin Xian with continuous fire. Seizing a moment's opportunity, Lin Xian ran directly to the massive gate and placed his hand on the cold, icy structure. The mechanical heart swiftly activated the gate's hydraulics, and with a resounding hum, the gates shook the wind and snow, slowly opening in both directions. Chen Sixuan decisively pushed the lowering lever, steering the Infinity onto the platform. The others fought their way back, retreating toward the wall. Once everyone was safely on the platform, Lin Xian again closed the gates. Bang, bang, bang. The swarming zombies dwindled as the gates closed, and Lu Da and Shasha quickly dispatched them. Ugh! Tens of thousands of zombies, trapped outside the gates, howled and reached through the gaps. The scene was truly horrifying. Let's retreat quickly. Be careful in here, there might be more, Lin Xian warned bluntly. He didn't believe the underground city was completely deserted. If the entire underground city was shut down, it was likely a breach from within. Otherwise, the former federal government wouldn't have abandoned this underground city, which had cost trillions to build, out of thin air. With a creak, the Infinity train slowly pulled into one of the platforms. The surroundings were empty and silent. The vast underground city entrance resembled a deep pit in the earth, with updrafts constantly colliding with the howling cold air, causing clouds of mist to rise above the tunnel. What none of them noticed was that as soon as the Infinity train entered the internal loading and unloading platform, several hidden surveillance cameras inside the platform quietly swung in the direction of the train. There's really no one here, Kiki frowned, looking at the platform outside. No way. How are we supposed to find this dungeon this big? Lin Xian said gravely, we should have expected this to happen. No survivors nearby have received any radio transmissions from this dungeon, which means it's been silent for a long time. But that's good. Without anyone here, we can go all out and find something useful, but the problem is, if there's no power here, we can't jump down, right? And without electricity, the dungeon's main control system must have been shut down long ago. Even if I wanted to hack into it, I wouldn't be able to. Kiki gritted her teeth. She had made all sorts of preparations and fantasies last night, but now she arrived, she found there was no electricity. Even the most skilled hacker couldn't fix a server outage. Then take whatever we have. Lin Xian wasn't too discouraged. Without anyone here, there would be less work. There were a lot of large machines here, which would provide ample nourishment for his mechanical heart. If nothing went wrong, he'd definitely be able to use them to reach level 3. Thinking about it that way, it wasn't a bad deal. Teacher Chen, Lin Xian thought for a moment and immediately decided. He said to Chen Sixuan, Kiki and I will go check out the entrance. To avoid a wasted trip, the three of you should look for some useful items near the platform and load them into the car first. We should hurry. Looking at the road conditions, we might have to back out later. It's hard to turn the car around outside, so we'll have to return to the Yuchi section and take the north line. Okay, Dalu nodded. Sasha pointed to the flatbed trailer behind. Brother Lin, why don't we just use the forklift on the platform to haul the stuff out back? We still have gas in the car, so there's plenty of room for it. Lin Xian nodded. Yes, mechanical equipment first. If there are any daily necessities or anything useful, move them all into the car. There's bound to be a lot of good stuff here that we'll need on the road. Girl, come with me. Okay, let's go check it out first. Maybe we can find something useful. Kiki put on the hood of her down jacket, rubbed her hands, and grabbed a gun, preparing to get off the car with Lin Xian. Chen Sixuan was a little worried. Then be careful. It's quiet here, but I still feel a little uneasy. Just as Lin Xian was about to open the cockpit door and get out, a beeping call suddenly rang out from inside the cockpit. Chen Sixuan looked in the direction of the sound and saw that it was the train's transponder system flashing. Her eyes widened in surprise. Lin Xian, it's the transponder. How can this thing be ringing? Kiki asked, puzzled. Without the red bead, how can the signal be connected? Lin Xian walked over quickly, his expression slightly dark. Unless it's a call from within the station. Reaching the transponder, Lin Xian paused with a complex expression before decisively pressing the switch. A beep. The air seemed to quiet down. Who is it? Lin Xian spoke directly, breaking the silence. A mature female voice echoed from the transponder. Hello, survivors. This is the experimental center on the scientific research floor, level -52, Underground City 9. Can you hear me? The word startled everyone. Someone else was still inside the underground city. New book is on the shelves, begging for monthly tickets, infinite train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 95 Help. Chen Sixuan covered her mouth in surprise. So there are people down there, let's listen first. Lin Xian gestured, then continued to press the answering machine. I can hear you, I'm Ding Junai, Deputy Director of the Biological Research Department of Underground City 9. A large number of zombies and nocturnal creatures have erupted within the underground city. I and several other colleagues are currently trapped on the research floor -52. Could you offer us assistance? If you're willing to help, we can offer you something in exchange. The voice on the answering machine sounded anxious, and the expressions of the people on the Infinity side changed slightly. You mean, there are only a few of you in such a large underground city? Lin Xian's first reaction was skepticism. He had been fooled by many tricks before, and he was not so easy to believe. It's still uncertain whether there are survivors in other areas. 2 weeks ago, the excavation section under the dungeon encountered some unknown underground creature, which led to the interruption of the project. Core number 1 melted and the people inside mutated and infected, resulting in the deaths of at least 376,000 citizens in the dungeon, more than 95% of the total population. The Underground City Federal Management Committee was forced to initiate a migration plan, mobilizing 8 Intercontinental Class and 3 Eternal Class trains as well as a large number of airships, helicopters, and flying devices to send core citizens out. However, almost all air transport equipment lost contact after entering the Daluo Mountains. The initial suspicion is that we encountered a large-scale nocturnal entity in the air. The mutation caused large-scale unrest in the dungeon. The main structure of the dungeon was damaged, and the zombies inside broke out, and a large number of nocturnal entities appeared. My 3 colleagues and I didn't have time to escape and were forced to flee into a biological laboratory. Now there should not be many survivors in the entire number 9 dungeon. Our laboratory has advanced system permissions for the dungeon. We saw your arrival through the surveillance of the GF2 train platform, so we asked you for help. Although it sounded like she was trapped and asking for help, the woman's voice and emotion seemed very calm. As soon as the words fell from his mouth, Kiki immediately cast his gaze out the window and saw several cameras pointed directly at their cockpit. Huh? So there's not only people in the dungeon, but also electricity? Lin Xian nodded, his eyes sweeping across the faces of the others, realizing that the nocturnal entities they were talking about were likely the same entity they had identified as the strange entities. He then spoke into the transponder. How do you think we should initiate a rescue? They had no idea what was happening inside the dungeon. From the information they had just transmitted, it seemed that unknown creatures existed underground, and the entire dungeon was occupied by zombies and nocturnal entities. Furthermore, they were on the 52nd floor below. In this situation, even if Lin Xian wanted to help, he wouldn't know where to start. So he didn't rush to consider it. Instead, he let them discuss the plan, first distinguishing between truth and falsehood, and then assessing the risks. After hearing Lin Xian's words, the woman opposite responded directly. Currently, elevators 1, 2, and 5 in the underground city are all damaged. Elevators 7 and 8 can only go directly to the floors below 80, and the rest are in the occupied floors and freight areas. Only elevator 3 is currently online, and it is also the closest to us. However, elevator 3 is a freight elevator used for equipment transportation and directly goes to the underground 5th level freight track terminal platform on the 95th floor. Due to damage to the main structure, it can only go to the 89th floor. I can open the protective gate of GF2 track to enter the underground track. Because we only have one backup energy source as a power supplement, the power is not enough to support your use of rail train elevators, so your train can go directly through the direct tunnel to the underground 4th level freight track terminal platform on the 65th floor, and then take elevator 3 to the 52nd floor. Although there are many zombies outside, you are well equipped and have a telekinetic ability user, so it should not be a big threat to you. Lin Xian frowned slightly. Judging from her statement, Ding Junai's identity as the deputy director of the biological research department was very likely genuine. Ordinary citizens of the underground city, even the most powerful, might not possess her understanding of the underground city system. Her logic was clear, her plans were distinct, and her tone was unmistakably that of a researcher. You make it sound easy, but why don't you ask the federal government for help? Kiki leaned forward and pointedly asked. Hearing Kiki's question, another slightly younger female voice on the other end of the transponder said anxiously, because the satellite communication facilities in the underground city have been removed, conventional communication equipment cannot transmit due to the influence of the magnetic waves at night. You should be aware of this, so the authority we can control at present is only part of the subsystems of the underground city. We will send you a message for help through the platform transponder system. Lin Xian frowned when he heard this, then no one will come to rescue you when you evacuate. There was silence in the transponder, and the director surnamed Ding took over again. When the upper level was evacuated, we received our message for help, but as far as the situation is concerned, we should have been considered abandoned assets. In underground city number 9, in a scientific research area, the isolation door was locked, and the corridor outside was completely shrouded in darkness. Countless zombies were wandering around. In the room, 4 men and women in scientific research uniforms looked anxious. They had been trapped here for more than a week. Although the scientific research area had a very strong protection level and life support system, there was not much food and supplies. If they didn't go out, they would probably starve to death. Ding Junai, the deputy director of the biological research department, was in her 30s, wearing glasses and possessing a cold gaze. Trapped with her were former colleagues Zhao Yan and Su Wen, as well as microbiologist Hong Kaiming. Zhao Yan was the oldest among them and appeared to be in the worst condition. The others had already been using some of the plant materials used for their experiments as food to replenish their energy. Fortunately, the laboratory area was well lit and well ventilated, preventing them from suffocating. After the evacuation, the entire underground city had become a hellish scene. Desolate and desolate. With roads blocked and polar night approaching, the hopes of rescue were dwindling. Nearly all useful supplies had been taken away, and this apocalyptic project, less than 1/5 complete, had been reduced to hopeless ruin. Director Ding, they don't seem to believe us. Su Wen is the most timid. She was the one who rushed to speak just now. When she saw that there was no reply on the answering machine, she suddenly became anxious. What should we do? Don't worry, Han Kaiming has a messy hair. He was thin to begin with. After 2 weeks of experiences, he has become a little unrecognizable. They drove the train here, they must have some purpose, and they can open the protective door and have advanced supernatural attributes. I think they may want to enter the dungeon. In this case, maybe we can find a point of interest. Yes, Zhao Yan is the oldest. She looked at Ding Junai. Director Ding, why don't we ask directly? Ding Junai was calmly replaying the surveillance footage at this time. Among the 4 people, she was the calmest. While everyone was anxiously waiting for the answering machine to respond, she was watching the scene of Lin Xian and others entering the inner platform from the outside, and kept making notes with a mobile screen. There are currently 5 of them on the screen. We're not sure if there are others on the train. The leader is likely the man we spoke to, aged between 25 and 30. His communication is clearly purposeful and logical, and he has a high level of education. He was the one who just opened the gate to platform GF2. I checked the system logs and found no authorization, so he must have some kind of supernatural power and forced it open. New book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinite train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 Conditions. This also meets the basic requirements for a leader in a crisis environment. The other woman, age 16 to 18, possesses rare telekinetic abilities with a high index. Logically, her ability is the most reasonable way to open the gate. This, in turn, suggests that the male who plays the leadership role possesses abilities that are more efficient than brute force, perhaps magnetic control or inorganic manipulation. The third man is a sturdy man, aged 26 to 35. He uses an M556 light machine gun, chambered for 7.62 by 51 mm rifle ammunition, with a rate of fire of 650 to 950 rounds per minute and weighing 21.5 kilograms. He carries a heavy metal sword on his back, with a hilt facing right. Although he is right-handed, he can easily fire the machine gun with his left hand, indicating immense muscle strength. While there's no indication of any special abilities, it's clear he's a warrior with exceptional survivability and strong armed capabilities. The fourth little girl is not very old, but she is proficient in using firearms. It is unclear whether she has special abilities or not, but from the perspective of social relations, there are only two possibilities for taking a very young girl with you during the escape. Either this little girl has some special abilities and values, or she is a relative of an important member of the team. The last one did not get off the car. Only part of the picture was captured by the camera. She is a female, about 25 years old, responsible for driving. It is inferred that she is a technician or a person with low combat power. Ding Junai zoomed in with a mobile screen and raised her glasses. Although her delicate face was pale from hunger, her eyes were very sharp. This is a giant Whale 03E heavy-duty gas turbine locomotive produced 30 years ago and a Huingsing 7F electric locomotive produced 14 years ago. Both are freight-grade and do not have a nuclear power drive system. They need to rely on liquid fuel and the railway power grid to operate. At the back are 5 modified passenger cars. From the external armor of the train, it can be seen that it is a product customized by a special factory. It can be judged that the interior should have undergone a series of modifications. Su Wen frowned and looked over. Director Ding, so what does it mean? Ding Junai looked at the few people. Obviously, this train is a carefully built mobile shelter, and these people are not temporary partners. The current federal government's intercontinental and eternal rail trains are Star Trek trains that can be transported around the world. They are equipped with nuclear power. So for such a team with strong survival conditions, the reason they would risk coming here may be to solve the energy problem. Makes sense, Han Kaiming nodded. With so many zombies outside rushing in, I also think they should not just be after food and water. Zhao Yan was a little anxious, but we can't help them solve the energy problem. All the intercontinental and eternity trains have been transported away during the Great Migration. Ding Junai took a deep breath, looked up at the silent train cockpit on the monitor, and said calmly, "Why not?" Ding Junai quickly operated on the system. She called up a monitoring log and then said, "Before the power system on the 95th floor was offline, the monitoring showed that there was still a Gemini 11, our nuclear-powered electric locomotive, on the freight terminal platform. This is a backup power train set for intercontinental trains. It was left on the terminal platform during the Great Migration. This may be what they want. So after current analysis, we may have 3 bargaining chips to negotiate with them." "What bargaining chips?" Zhao Yan said anxiously. "First, we have P3 level advanced access to the dungeon and information about all areas of the dungeon. In addition to information about this Gemini 11, our nuclear-powered electric locomotive, we can also help them obtain corresponding resources in other areas. This team is small in number but has extremely strong survivability, so I think this accounts for 70%. The second point is the experimental data from our biological laboratory and some information about the original federal dungeon. Although these are not necessarily important to the survivors, they do have certain value if we consider exchanging some benefits with the current Apocalypse Federation, accounting for 29%. Zhao Yan frowned at the woman. "Then what is the other 1%? Ding Junai looked at the few people with a cold gaze. "It's just us. As long as we are still alive, we have basic intellectual value, labor value, and sexual value." Han Kaiming's face changed when he heard this, and he said with the demeanor of an old scholar, "Ridiculous. After all, we are also members of the federal government's senior scientific research team. Even if we are used to exchange benefits with the federal government, our value is greater than our labor value, right?" Ding Junai glanced at him. "You are too naive. The sexual value I'm talking about also includes you." Han Kaiming was horrified. "What the hell?" Zhao Yan and Su Wen also looked puzzled at these words. They had never imagined they would be traded for base value, and the probability of that value being even 1%. Director Ling's analysis is quite insightful, but is a mere permission or navigation sufficient to make them risk their lives to save us? Zhao Yan's face paled with hunger, her strength now exhausted. She disagreed with Ling Junai's analysis, but she had no other ideas. "Yes, and that train is still on the 95th floor. That place is already," Su Wen said with fear. Ding Junai said calmly, "These 3 points I mentioned are our strategy, and these are all we have. Of course, there's an asymmetry. It's possible that all three combined are worth less to them than a box of food. That's their calculation, but I don't think we have any better options. A silence fell upon them. Elsewhere, Lin Xian and the team members exchanged glances after hearing what Su Wen and Ding Junai had said. Chen Sixuan looked at Lin Xian and spoke first. According to them, this underground city has fallen. There is not much time during the day. It must be difficult to go in and search for supplies in this situation. Lin Xian nodded, unless we act at night, but it's too dangerous. Not to mention the unknown underground creatures, there are hundreds of thousands of people in the underground city alone, and we don't know how many zombies and monsters there are. Then why don't we go in and save them? Sasha said. Didn't they say they could provide me with supplies in exchange? Hey. Lin Xian, Kiki said at this time, why don't we listen to what they can provide first? If it doesn't work, don't worry about them. Anyway, we have backup energy and we can find a way to get in by ourselves. It's too rash to find a way to get in by ourselves. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows and said, this underground city is comparable to a small city. I don't know how complicated the situation is. It's not difficult to get in, but what about after getting in? Unless it encounters the control of an intelligent system, it is not difficult for his mechanical ability to open an ordinary mechanical door, but a dungeon like this has an extremely complex and huge system. It is impossible for him to cover the entire dungeon with a mechanical heart. If he really did that, he might die before the first floor was covered. Plus, the internal situation has already collapsed and it's unsafe. Any slight recklessness could trigger a chain reaction, leaving us with nothing to gain and only a hasty escape. With this in mind, Lin Xian pressed the answer button. Now, tell me your terms. New book is available, begging for monthly tickets. Infinite train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 97 Cooperation. As soon as the words fell, the people in the lab tensed, their eyes all turning to Ding Junai. After much deliberation, they knew this shabby lab had nothing of value, so they could only resign themselves to Ding Junai's analysis. Ding Junai then stepped forward and, without hesitation, stated, we have P3 level management authority over the underground city. With the exception of a few specific areas, we can assist you in accessing the residential, commercial, entertainment, industrial, storage, and cultural heritage protection areas, research, and expressways. Even after the relocation, a city of hundreds of thousands of people must still have valuable supplies after the emergency abandonment of a city that was home to hundreds of thousands of people. Also, we know the location of a Gemini 11R nuclear-powered electric locomotive. The small, micro-nuclear-powered DRX power plant on this locomotive has a thermal output of 290 megawatts. Furthermore, if you require research data from our biological lab, we can provide it, but it must be kept confidential to prevent us from being politically investigated by the federal government. She directly recited all the bargaining chips she had analyzed. Su Wen, standing beside her, looked nervous and whispered, should we discuss the third point? Although she initially sounded reluctant, when the negotiation finally came, she was eager to lay out all her conditions, just to save her life. No need, Ding Junai said calmly, her finger leaving the answer button. If they rescue us, we will gain the right to life, but we will also lose all other rights. We won't be able to decide what they want to do to us then. The few people here were ordinary people, almost powerless. In this situation, they could only regard Lin Xian and his men as saviors, but also consider the possibility that they were bandits and thugs. Han Kaiming's face turned grim. Is it possible that it's not that exaggerated? Look at those three women. They don't look like the kind of people who would do anything to a man like me. They don't look like vicious people. Zhao Yan looked at him with a different expression. Professor Han, you're out of your mind. Do you think Director Ding is talking about those three girls? Do you want to see the 2-meter-tall guy? What? Han Kaiming's face turned green and his legs trembled as soon as he said this. No way, Ding Junai rubbed her brows. She really couldn't understand why these people always focused on such unimportant points. On the Infinity, Lin Xian and Kiki's eyes lit up when they heard what Ding Junai said. Oh my god, a Gemini 11R nuclear-powered electric locomotive. Wow, Kiki exclaimed. Lin Xian, that sounds great. Lin Xian looked at Chen Sixuan and the others with a quizzical smile. This woman is quite clever, but according to her, they don't have any resources, just some permissions and information. A massive underground city would undoubtedly have a lot of supplies left after the emergency evacuation, But such a statement was too general and of little value to Lin Xian and his companions. They certainly knew they would find some gains. However, these unknown gains were difficult to assess, making them far less significant than the Gemini 11R nuclear-powered electric locomotive they were talking about. However, Ding Junai's direct mention of this matter made Lin Xian feel as if he had understood his purpose. If that's the case, then we don't need to go through them at all. Can't I just give me some time to hack into the system? Kiki said bluntly. How long will it take? We'll know after we connect, but in this case, the main control AI must have been removed, leaving behind a subsystem. I'd estimate 5 or 6 hours. That's unnecessary, Lin Xian said. Maybe rescuing them would be easier. Besides, if this group is truly a research team, they might have a lot of information we need. Plus, they have a better understanding of the current situation inside the dungeon. In this situation, cooperation is definitely more efficient than confrontation. Could they be tricking us? Chen Sixuan knew Lin Xian's intention, but asked with concern. Let's take a look, girl. Lin Xian pointed to the roof, and Kiki immediately understood. Soon, 2 drones rose from the Infinity's roof and flew rapidly over the dungeon. The wind and snow are too strong, and the imaging effect is not good. In the information center, Kiki complained while operating the drone. It doesn't matter, Lin Xian said, observe it before it gets dark. It can help us judge the general situation. Let's take a look below first. Okay, Kiki pursed her lips, looking at the completely silent underground tunnel on the screen, and said, it looks similar to what they said. There is no movement of living people. It would be great if there was a thermal imaging system. This kind of place is most suitable, Lin Xian nodded. The large aerial nocturnal body they just mentioned may be the atmospheric jellyfish we saw last night. I just don't know what the hell that underground creature is, Chen Sixuan said. It looks much more dangerous than we thought. Even if we go in, we can't stay too long, then we will prioritize the Gemini 11R nuclear-powered electric locomotive. The rest we can decide based on the situation, Lin Xian said at this time. Can we locate the 52nd floor where they are? Kiki shook her head. No, we'll lose signal once we leave the horizon. It's too dark down there to see anything. But look, there's a tunnel down ahead. Open the door and the train can go straight down into the underground city. It's normal to have underground tracks for cargo transport in such a large underground city. Staying on the train would give them a better chance of dealing with zombies, and the elevator would be more convenient for transporting supplies. But driving the train into a closed, fallen underground city was somewhat risky. Lin Xian paused for a moment, then looked at Kiki and asked, what do you think? There are definitely risks, Kiki said, her chin resting on her hand. But what they were saying sounds very consistent with our intended purpose. The only problem is we don't know what strange entities are inside, and that terrifying-sounding underground creature. Lin Xian nodded. Energy is a big issue, crucial to our survival. But I've also reserved 1 or 2 days for this purpose, to improve the Infinity's protection and detection systems before we ascend to the high-altitude corridor. The life support and weapon systems are also crucial, so, I think the risk is worth taking, Lin Xian said solemnly. An empty underground city lay before him. If he didn't try to explore it, he would be doing a disservice to his mechanical abilities. Moreover, with information about nuclear-powered electric locomotives, this doomsday artifact was definitely worth testing. Okay. Kiki raised her hand enthusiastically. I agree. Upon hearing Lin Xian's words, Chen Sixuan and the others glanced at him with approval. Everyone knew the key to survival was the Infinity Train, and as a mechanical psychic, Lin Xian had a clear say in this matter. Improving the train's safety would undoubtedly be far more significant than simply securing daily necessities. Elsewhere, in the laboratory, Zhao Yan, Su Wen, and Han Kaiming were experiencing immense torment. They had finally waited for a rescue team to arrive before the polar night, a glimmer of hope. However, they felt no obligation to risk their lives to save them. They could only hope that Ding Junai's offer would be effective. Will they really agree? We have nothing to eat or drink here, and we don't know if there are any weapons left in the military zone. Will they really save us just for a nuclear-powered electric locomotive that they didn't know would work? Su Wen's face was filled with despair. While Ding Junai's analysis seemed logical to them, upon closer inspection, it didn't sound like much of an offer at all. The other party, with their special abilities, might not even need their help to enter the dungeon. Furthermore, the Gemini 11R nuclear-powered electric locomotive was merely theoretical information. The 95th floor had been disconnected from the system for days, leaving them with no idea of what was happening below. None of these seemed as likely as food or weapons. Even sexual resources or the hope that the other party would have a savior's conscience and save their fellow human seemed more likely. At this thought, the others grew even more panicked. Sixuan paced anxiously, watching the transponder go silent. Suddenly, his anxiety grew, and he prepared to rush to the transponder. "What are you doing?" Ding Junai asked. "I'm telling them there's plenty of food, plenty of drinks, and plenty of weapons. Maybe that'll impress them." Zhao Yan and Hong Kaiming glanced at him with complicated expressions. They knew Sixuan was being desperate, but they were also deeply troubled and unable to calm down. Ding Junai looked at her coldly. "I know what you are thinking, but I suggest you not to do this." "Why?" Sixuan was a little hysterical, his eyes red as he said, "I don't think the conditions you mentioned can impress them at all. If there is nothing more practical, then are the things you made up very practical." But, Ding Junai's eyes swept over the other two people. From a rational point of view, if the other party has no idea about the first condition, then we are actually equivalent to having no value to rescue. Even if we guess right, the other party has ideas about the first condition and reaches a temporary friendly cooperation with us, but this seemingly friendly cooperation is actually very fragile, because our existence is not necessary and essential to the other party. In other words, they can completely use us and then kill us all, and we have no choice. In this kind of negotiation where subsequent survival depends entirely on the other party's moral standards, you still want to use lies to trick the other party into saving us. Do you think it is rational? Sixuan was rendered speechless by her words. His face was filled with panic, his lips dry. His hand, reaching for the answering machine button, trembled slightly in the air before slowly withdrawing. "Wake up," Ding Junai said bluntly, arms folded across her chest. "We lack the military strength. In this situation, maintaining friendship offers a glimmer of hope, but deceiving and hoping for luck will lead to certain death." New book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinite Train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 98 Tunnel. As Ding Junai finished her words, the other three people's expressions suddenly changed, and the air suddenly turned cold. As if in response, just as she finished her words, Lin Xian's voice rang out from the answering machine. "We can come to rescue you. Please open the gate of GF2 tunnel." Upon hearing this, several people in the laboratory stood up suddenly, their eyes eager and their joy beyond words. They agreed. "We are saved. Director Ding is right," Sixuan said with a grim expression. "Fortunately, Director Ding stopped you, otherwise you would have been in trouble." Zhao Yan glared at Sixuan, unable to hide her excitement. Ding Junai's face was still wooden at this time. She had no time to argue with a few people. She directly operated the system to open the gate of the underground tunnel under the underground city. At the same time, she said to the communicator, "The total length of the tunnel is 31,650 meters, with a slope of 59.5 per mil. The backup energy is not enough to support the electromagnetic deceleration system, so you need to keep the speed within 20 kilometers. Also pay attention to maintaining the thermal load of the brake shoe. Although there are no abnormalities reported by the 127 monitoring sensor systems in the tunnel, it is recommended that you turn on the lights and pay attention to safety." Inside platform GF2, the Infinity train slowly started up, and the gates leading to the underground city's lower tunnel opened. Lin Xian and Chen Sixuan, standing in the cockpit, listened attentively to Ding Junai's words. "Your name is Ding Junai, right?" Lin Xian pressed the transponder as he controlled the train. "Yes. This is the Infinity train, and I'm the conductor." Lin Xian. "Hello, Mr. Lin, where's the area where you discovered the underground creature?" Lin Xian asked. "The 106th floor. Currently, everything below the 100th floor is under construction. Elevator number 3 used to go down to the 95th floor, but communication has been lost below the 89th floor. Therefore, it's best to stop at the 4th level freight track terminal platform on the 65th floor. From now on, you can transport any supplies directly onto the train cars via elevator number 3. Okay, what specific area are you on? The 52nd floor, area F13. Coming out of the elevator is an area K2. There are many zombies outside the passage, and there is also a zoning map. After you enter the elevator, I can turn on the image transmission, and then I will tell you the detailed route. The distance is about 1.9 kilometers. Okay, the other party conveyed it very clearly. Lin Xian asked Chen Sixuan to sit firmly in the driver's seat, and then controlled the infinity to enter the dark underground tunnel and began to move underground. Hua-hua. After entering the tunnel, the train began to slide down, and the wheels made a hua-hua sound. In front of the lights was a long track, and as the train continued to wind down, everyone on the car felt a dull pain in their eardrums. "Everyone hold on," Lin Xian shouted to the back. At the same time, he kept controlling the vehicle to slow down to avoid derailment and loss of control. Ahead of the train lights, yellow distance and floor signs appeared in sight. 10th floor, -65 m, 30th floor, -175 m, 50th floor, -255 m, 60th floor, -301 m. Like a roller coaster, the train spiraled down through the dark tunnels, a scent of underground dampness gradually filling the carriages. Finally, after a gentle descent, the Infinity arrived at a terminal platform for the 4th level freight track in underground city number 9, 65th floor, -325 m. With a creaking sound, the Infinity's wheels scorched, emitting blazing steam as it came to a steady stop on the pitch-black platform. Through the windows, one could see several broken lights flickering and occasionally emitting sparks. Sasha, Kiki, and Chen Sixuan all came to the windows, peering outside in the dim light. At first glance, it was a massive freight loading and unloading platform, complete with a specialized hoisting system and conveyor belts. However, it looked as if something terrible had happened here. The ground and walls were covered in dark red bloodstains, and there were numerous remains of corpses on the platform. Confined spaces alone were inherently oppressive and terrifying, especially since they were 325 meters underground. The thought that nearly everyone in this dungeon had perished, and that hundreds of thousands of zombies and unknown subterranean creatures might be buried there, was chilling. Chen Sixuan looked at Lin Xian anxiously. "How should we proceed? We'll split up." Lin Xian pointed to the tunnel behind them. "There's only one way out. We can't afford any accidents, otherwise we'll have to abandon the train and fight our way out of the underground city unarmed." Sasha, Sixuan, as usual. "You guys guard the train with weapons to prevent anyone from cutting us off. Kiki and I will go to the 52nd floor and rescue the people. After we get back, we'll decide which areas to search for supplies based on time and actual conditions." Without a map, Lin Xian couldn't just randomly search this vast underground city. Time was running out, so they had to be targeted. Otherwise, with the levels covering tens or even 20 square kilometers, by the time they searched each level, they would be exhausted, not to mention being overwhelmed by zombies and other entities. The most straightforward plan was to find Ling Junai and the others first, determine the situation inside, and then, based on time, deploy and decide which areas to explore. The situation inside the dungeon was complex and unknown. Sasha and Chen Sixuan lacked supernatural powers, and their physical fitness couldn't keep up with Lin Xian and the others. It would be safer for them to stay together in the car. After dividing the work, Lin Xian, Luda, and Kiki were fully armed. He brought the GK-03 electric knife, a submachine gun, and a pistol. Kiki also grabbed an automatic rifle, while Ludar retained his light machine gun and plenty of ammunition. The three of them also donned the gas masks they had retrieved from the outpost. After all, this was a confined space, and they needed to be more cautious. "There's no telling how many zombies there are in here. Don't waste your energy on them," Lin Xian said to Kiki as the cockpit door opened. "I know." Kiki laughed, seemingly unfazed. "Didn't I tell you my powers have evolved? They won't run out of juice after just a few uses." Lin Xian glanced at her. "How can you use them?" "How should I know? They're much stronger than before." "Okay." With a thud, Lin Xian was the first to step down, his foot making a crisp sound on the loading platform floor. The ground seemed damp with water. "Be careful, everyone." Lin Xian turned and signaled to Chen Sixuan to close the hatch. A mixture of moldy earth and bloody odors filled the carriage, making Chen Sixuan and Sasha feel nauseous. After closing the door, things finally calmed down. The intercom light was green, indicating that short-range communications hadn't been affected. Ever since encountering the three-headed spider monster in Yuchi City, Lin Xian had suddenly realized something. The intercom's communication status could potentially provide some indication of the presence of strange entities nearby. This sounds a bit like the role of the Beggar's Edition Soul Value Detector. Although it may not be completely accurate, it can also remind you. New book is on the shelf, begging for monthly votes. Infinite Train, Soaring into the Sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 99 Interior. Click, click. The three men activated their tactical flashlights and began marching across the platform. Surrounded by the flickering, fluorescent glow of the light bulbs, everything else was pitch black. Wow, it's so new, Kiki shone the flashlight as she walked. It looks like it was built not long ago. This dungeon isn't even finished yet. I guess not even a fifth of it is finished, Lin Xian muttered. Even with the combined might of the Federation, they can't save 1,000,000 people. There's more than one dungeon. Even though the Federation has collapsed, there must be even larger ones. I just don't know what they're like. Lin Xian, walking ahead, suddenly stopped. The building and Kiki suddenly tensed. Lin Xian raised his flashlight and shone it towards a nearby pillar at the edge of the platform. There, a man in war clothes stood with his back to the corner of the pillar, his body slowly twitching. The light caught their attention. The man slowly turned around, his face changing the expressions of the three men. The man's face was completely rotten and mutated, no longer resembling a human. Instead, it sprouted what looked like fleshy tentacles, a mouth studded with sharp teeth, a crimson hue that was terrifying to behold. What the hell is this? A zombie, Kiki exclaimed in surprise. It's definitely not human. The humanoid monster made a strange, cricket-like sound, its fleshy tentacles trembling. Upon seeing Lin Xian and the other two, it suddenly let out a shrill cry, and sprinted towards them. Its speed wasn't that of a running zombie, it was like an athlete, incredibly fast, its charge intimidating. Attack, Lin Xian shouted immediately. Bang! 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 Unsure of its true nature, he took no chances. The three of them simultaneously opened fire, unleashing a barrage of fire. Several bullets pelted the creature, sending a shower of blood and blood splattering. The zombie stumbled from the impact, but didn't seem to be killed immediately. Instead, it charged even faster. Da. Sensing something was amiss, the men immediately unleashed another volley, firing into the fleshy tentacles and mouth parts on the zombie's face. The terrifying head was quickly shattered, and it collapsed to the ground. Even after it fell, the fleshy tentacles on the man's face continued to twitch and twist. After a while, the movement gradually died down. This thing is not right. It doesn't look like a normal zombie. Everyone, be careful, Lin Xian watched with a shudder. The three of them were all psychics, armed with firearms, but the transformed zombie they encountered was far more resilient than the ordinary zombies they had encountered before, and it was also incredibly fast. Disgusting. Why is it so hard to kill? Kiki frowned. Could it be a strange entity? The building also spoke up. Lin Xian shone his flashlight over there, finding no trace of black energy emanating from the dead zombie's body. Only a bloody corpse remained. He couldn't help but frown. That shouldn't be it. He checked the time. It was only 6:02 p.m. While it wasn't dark yet, after his experience in Bwin, he knew that some things didn't necessarily appear only in darkness, they could also appear in specific locations. In a dark underground city like this, the situation might not be much better than in the dark. Don't be careless. Let's go. Lin Xian tensed, and the others quickened their pace. Following a conveyor belt, they quickly arrived at a large elevator entrance. It was a massive freight elevator, several meters long. Before they even reached it, the control panel next to the elevator suddenly lit up. A woman's face appeared on the screen. She wore a scientific research suit and glasses, looking capable and in her 30s. Hello, Mr. Lin. I'll open the elevator for you right away. You're Ding Junai, the one who just contacted me, Lin Xian asked. It's me, Lin Xian nodded. Besides Ding Junai, he could see two women and one man standing behind her, all dressed as scientists. Seeing this, Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. Open the door, Ding Junai said on the screen. Be careful. The surveillance shows water accumulating in the elevator. There might be unidentified creatures. Move aside. What unidentified creatures? Kiki took 2 steps back curiously. Lin Xian gestured to move aside. Stand aside, Wu. The sound of the elevator descending echoed. Lin Xian and the others immediately stepped back, watching the elevator numbers on the screen and slowly raising their weapons. Elevator has arrived, 65th floor, level 4 freight rail terminal, a mechanical female voice echoed, and then the huge elevator door slowly opened from the center, rising and falling. Instantly, a room-sized elevator space appeared. Simultaneously, a meter-deep pool of fishy yellow water suddenly gushed out, making a clattering sound that sent Lin Xian and the others retreating. Lin Xian, quick-witted, immediately spotted a number of strange creatures swarming in the murky water. He shouted to the other two, "There's something in the water!" Bang! 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 The three guns immediately unleashed a barrage of fire, sending blood splattering from the swirling black forms. The water quickly receded, revealing the swarming creatures, 4 or 5 multi-legged creatures with black shells. These creatures, drenched in the water and clinging to several swollen, decaying bodies, appeared to be some kind of parasite. "Disgusting," Kiki exclaimed. "Don't be careless. Kill them first," Lin Xian shouted. Bang! Bang! Thanks to Ding Junai's warning, Lin Xian and his men were prepared. As soon as the monsters were flushed out of the water, they were blasted with bullets, their metallic jets blasting them to pieces. Ugh! The relentless sound of gunfire echoed throughout the vast platform, seemingly attracting the attention of many creatures. Lin Xian, upon hearing it, immediately called out, "Hurry, get in the elevator." Kiki and the building immediately rushed inside, and Lin followed suit, the elevator doors swiftly closing. "Oh no! There are still a lot of monsters here." Sister Chen and the others, Kiki asked worriedly, watching the elevator door seal off the darkness of the platform outside. "It's okay. They're safer than us," Lin Xian said sternly. The Infinity's armor was impenetrable, capable of withstanding even the tentacles of the atmospheric jellyfish. Besides, Teacher Chen and Sasha had plenty of defensive weapons aboard, so Lin Xian felt confident. Woo! The elevator doors closed, and the group stepped onto the wet floor. A huge lifting force was felt, and the elevator quickly ascended to the upper floors. When you exit the elevator, you'll be in K2. There are quite a few monsters outside the passageway. There's water on the ground from K2 to D23. Here's the route map. The terrain is a bit complex and it's a bit circuitous. The communication systems in some places are damaged, so I can't give you any instructions along the way. Also, be especially careful when you pass through F5 and D6. That's where the elevators and staircases are, and it's the worst hit area. It was also the original escape route, but it's definitely blocked now, with power and surveillance systems cut off. New book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinite Train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. Chapter 100 Arrival. In the laboratory, Ding Junai looked focused. She quickly enlarged the floor diagram of the 52nd floor on the screen with her hand, and used auxiliary lines to explain the route to Lin Xian and others. Zhao Yan and Su Wen were also concerned. The situation at this time was related to their life and death. Everyone was so nervous that they were shaking. On the other side, in the elevator, on the huge screen, Ding Junai introduced the route to several people in detail. Kiki and Lin Xian saw it and quickly understood the general direction of the route. This underground city is really a big factory. It takes 2 kilometers to run from the freight elevator to another scientific research area on one floor. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "That's still small," Kiki grumbled quietly. "After all, this is a massive project, housing hundreds of thousands of people. A single floor could house thousands or even tens of thousands, and there's also work in commercial areas. There are roads and express transportation throughout. Everything we have above ground is also available here." Lin Xian nodded, then stood in front of the elevator door and said, "Let's focus on getting on our way. Don't get stuck if we run into trouble. I'll lead the way, and the building will cover the rear. Kiki, you take the middle." Okay, Brother Xian." Their goal was to first find the research area where Ding Junai and the others were, as it was protected and temporarily safe. Lin Xian needed to first check out these people, then he and Kiki would review the next deployment. If feasible, they would bring them back to the Infinity and redistribute the work of transporting supplies. He hoped to exit the underground city before dark tomorrow, then follow the southern route back to the Jiangai line and enter Yubai City. GI Dental protects your oral health. This month, first-class citizens can enjoy a 5% discount on membership. Experience it on the 31st floor. Do you have mobility issues? Are you disabled? Longtang Mechanical Prosthetics Reconstruction Center will help you experience a whole new body, allowing you to run freely and embrace freely. The latest ARX2 industrial prosthetic arm has a battery life of up to 168 hours, allowing you to work continuously for a week without interruption. A great helper for increasing wealth and income. Kant's delicious protein nuggets, made with a carefully selected new species of American cockroach, Using authentic ingredients and traditional craftsmanship, ensure authentic flavor in every bite. The screen inside the elevator still played various advertisements for the original underground city, giving people a sense of life and the rich life of cattle and horses about to unfold underground, forming a sharp contrast with the terrifying silence of the underground city. Huh? So disgusting? How can it be delicious? Kiki shuddered at the sight of the advertisement. Lin Xian said gravely, "You know what? There's a global food shortage right now. When we run out of food, you might find this thing appealing. PFFT, PFFT, PFFT. I don't want to eat cockroaches." The building stared at the ad with a strange expression, silent, probably wondering what it would feel like to be made to eat cockroaches. Elevator has arrived, 52nd floor, New Dumera research floor. Access restricted to Class 1 citizens and special personnel, F3 clearance. Lin Xian glanced at it, and with a swish, the elevator doors opened, the light from inside slowly fading onto the pitch-black ground outside. The entire K2 area was completely without power. The three men stood inside, guns raised, waiting for a moment. Aside from the various advertisements blaring from the elevator display, the surroundings were completely silent. "Go," Lin Xian ordered decisively, and the three of them quickly launched their attack. Empty thud, footsteps echoed in the hollow space. The flashlight shone, revealing various loading and unloading areas all around. After running a distance along the main road, they realized this floor was filled with various scientific laboratories and offices. There were no living or commercial areas, and the interior construction was of a very high standard. Many of the labs were dust-proofed, and the corridors were very wide. The only problem was the lack of any reference points. Without signage or a map, it was easy to get lost in a scientific research building like this. Everywhere were identical offices and rooms. Furthermore, most areas were still pitch black. Fortunately, Ding Junai had given them directions ahead of time, otherwise, Lin Xian and his companions would have spent ages just finding their way. Click, click, the three hurried along, running from K2 to F1. The corridors finally lit up, and the sounds of their running echoed through the hallways. The windows of the labs they passed were covered in blood. From many rooms, the howling of zombies began to echo. Soon, the howling intensified, setting off a chain reaction. "Just run. Don't look back." Lin Xian raised his pistol and dispatched a zombie around the corner ahead. To minimize the pressure of the zombie horde, he chose not to fire directly. The three of them hurried forward, but at a bend, they all stopped in their tracks. The passage ahead was densely packed with countless zombies of varying shapes, all dressed in white research suits. At the sound, they turned their heads, their tentacles slowly opening. "Another one," Lin Xian frowned. He had been trying not to shoot, but the sight of the creature gave him a headache, and without a word, he opened fire. Bang, bang, bang. The passage erupted in flames as the tentacle-covered zombies madly lunged at the three, their jaws wide open, as if ready to devour their heads in one gulp. With their previous experience, the three men took no chances, firing their rounds straight at the monsters' faces. Soon, the ground was covered with zombie monsters, their tentacles twitching. Zombies continued to scurry behind them, and the building began shooting backwards. Lin Xian, with his knife, hacked at the still twitching zombies along the way, avoiding any further mishaps. With a crash, a glass door shattered, and Lin Xian dispatched the zombies behind him with a series of blows from his air lance. The three of them scrambled out, but in the circular elevator lobby ahead, countless black insects, strange spiders, and zombie monsters began to pounce on them, blocking the path. "Hey!" Kiki's eyes flashed, and with a wave of his hand, a massive impact instantly sent the monsters and zombies flying, finally clearing the path. Without hesitation, the three of them advanced swiftly, braving the tide of zombies. Elsewhere, in the laboratory, Zhao Yan, Su Wen, and Han Kaiming anxiously watched the surveillance screens, their sweat dripping from their lips. The surging tide of zombies and monsters seemed poised to engulf Lin Xian and the others at any moment, their hearts in their throats. If these people, armed with superpowers and a vast array of weaponry, couldn't get through, then these helpless scientists had no hope of survival. In contrast, Ding Junai's face was expressionless. She wasn't checking the surveillance cameras, instead working on her work computer. "Director Ding, what are you doing?" Zhao Yan asked, puzzled, observing the scene. "Don't we need to warn them? We've already warned them. They're not taking the wrong path." All we can do is open the door as soon as they arrive. Beyond that, don't waste time organizing anything useful. We don't have any supplies to organize here, Ding Junai said, not even glancing at her. Research materials, superpowers, blood plants, dungeon logs, they might be useful later. Teacher Zhao, I suggest taking the sample of Calamity Blood Plant number 1, along with the sample chamber. If that doesn't work, prepare to activate the destruction program, new book available, begging for monthly passes. Infinite Train, soaring into the sky. Thank you so much. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.